Three, two. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Not again for a beautiful show here with my boy Just DeAndre, and he's from Japan and everything. So we're gonna discuss on some things. So Just DeAndre, man, I did a little pre-introduction, but just introduce yourself to the panel, to the people that's listening.
What's up, everybody? So just just me. I've been living in Japan for 18 years. I'm originally from Baltimore. Um, you know, and that's I do. So I work in the entertainment industry. Do a whole bunch of other stuff, but the entertainment industry, and I do some vlogs, and I host some panels on my channel. Building my channel slowly but surely, consistently. That's about it.
Cool, brother. And yeah, live life in Japan. So let's get into it, man. So, how is it, as far as the life in Japan as a African American? Like, did you come in any struggles, or how was the moving process?
It's like how should I say it like this? Well, when I first came to Japan, I came in the military, so you don't really like they say we call the military like when you live in another country, you're the military. We call it the reservation, right? Because you're
Mhm.
still like you get fringe benefits of still being in the U.S. So it's like an extended tourism, right? So any type of like discrimination that I would get or see anything while in Japan, it was strictly basically come from the base or being in the military. So it's like being like, what I'm saying? Like, but when I got out, and I continued to live here, it's not like you run into certain things, but it's not as bad as being in the US. Uh,
Okay, far as like racism in the U.S. or
yeah,
just
like
okay,
as far as racism in the US, the racism is what is the racism that you receive is propaganda that's been formed about black people. And when I mean black people, I mean American black people. Um, because we don't actually travel a lot. Like we
mm-hmm.
don't travel. And so the only thing that they know about black people is that we're very athletic. Um, and we're very talented musically, right? Or for entertainment purposes, right? And then if you're really smart or you're really articulate, or if I mean, if you're talking about it in the sciences and literature and stuff, you have to come directly from the continent of Africa. Like you cannot really come from the U.S. Like if you're a United States black person, if you ain't singing, dancing, running down the field, putting the basketball in the hoop, um, they're very surprised.
Oh, okay. So they had that pre notion of,
Yeah,
and that's interesting though, because even though we came from, like, we have the same roots, but it's interesting as you said, if you're from Africa, well, if you articulate and you're into science or you're into STEM and academics is like your number one priority, they look at you like, oh, you're not from America, you're from a different country.
exactly.
That's interesting how this now in Japan now, do they embrace our culture? Like, do they listen to like our hip hop? You
Oh,
know,
man, like they are the let's see. I would say Asian. They love our culture, like how we love their culture. Um, how we love their culture. And I mean, when I grew up, we would watch kung fu movies and watch and read anime and stuff like
right?
that. Right? Um, they love our culture, we love their culture, and all this other stuff. But they would imitate our culture to the point where um they would study it ridiculously, like to a point where they would copy it, right?
Mm,
But it wouldn't be like making it their own. It would be a carbon copy of whatever, right? They would
okay.
copy something and then it'd be what it is. Like real talk. Like it's just nothing. And you can kind of take it however way you want to, because this is how they operate, right? And you can take it however way you want to. This is how they operate, but at a different part of that is it's like sometimes the longer that you live here, it gets annoying.
Mm. I think that's anywhere, but I see what you're saying on that point. like
Mm.
okay, so like when you because you know you've been there for a while and stuff, so I'm pretty sure you had conversations with people in Japan. Were they surprised, like, man, this brother, you know, he served his country, he's very articulate, like, you know, did it throw him off a little bit?
Um, not really because I didn't. The area in which, like, when I was in the military, is the same area that I stayed in, and I did that purposely, because I was very observant. When I was in the military, in the times that we were in Japan, because we traveled everywhere in the military. I was in the Navy,
Hmm.
um, so I'm very observant about my surroundings, and I have this thing, of want to know how to deal with people, especially from different cultures, because if you know where they come from and how they are, then you can see it.
Okay.
Um, so I stayed in the same area. So the area which I live in, and if you were in the military, if you're still in, you understand that if you're in those areas, in the military around the bases, that area solely depends on their relationship with the base.
All
That
right.
base there,
True.
that area dies, right? So this area that I live in is more pseudo Americanized than anything. So it's when you get outside of this area, um,
Okay, that's when you're deep into the culture.
that's where you're deep, and it's not even outside of this area. It's like you actually have to go, like I would say, to another prefecture or to another state, right?
Wow.
And
Okay.
what that means is like I live in Kanagawa, right? So Kanagawa would be like the best thing I would say is Kanagawa is like pretty much like New York, right? And then I would have to literally go to, someplace I would know. I would say I would have to go somewhere like outside of Kanagawa. You're talking about Shizuoka. That's where Mount Fuji is. But let's just say the next one over, the next major city over is Nagoya. So that would be going from New York, I would say, down to Pennsylvania or Maryland, right?
Okay.
And then there, you don't have any black people from America like that. Now you got people from the continent of Africa, you got Brazilians, you got Peruvians, you got Colombians.
Mm.
You got like they got signs in Japanese and Portuguese and Spanish down there because the factories are down there, like Toyota, Nissan, Honda, Panasonic, Mitsubishi, all that, right? So all of major export factories of all the goods that people used to love that come from Japan.
Wow, they went
Yeah,
overseas. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
they're over there, right? So when you get down there, because I'm dark, so they think that I'm African until I start talking. Then they realize in my mannerisms that I'm not from Africa. And when I mean Africa, I'm talking about the west coast of Africa, Nigeria and Ghana, um,
Okay.
and stuff like that. That's the people that are mainly in Asia, you know what I'm saying? And I'll break that down later. But now when they realize that I'm American, it's like a shock, right? It's like
Okay.
a definite, oh, you're American. Oh, this is the first time we see one of you. You're a black person from America. It's like you're an endangered species or something, right?
Hmm.
And
I
they don't.
wonder. I wonder what. I want to say what would really what stemmed them, like the root, maybe because of the media, because I was thinking like, okay, why they have, you know, for the most part they have a negative expectancy that black African Americans can't achieve anything besides through entertainment, you know. I mean, because you know, we obviously know that's only a certain group of people, you know, because everybody is not an entertainer that's successful in America, but we do put that as a pedestal here in this country. But I was just wondering, you know, like, do you think like because of the Japanese or people in different in general, they just look at us on television for those who
Well,
never traveled to this country before?
let me put it to you like this, right? The quickest way to fame or to riches, right,
Hmm.
for any person that's from America, from what I'm saying, like what I'm saying, from I mean that are Black Americans, right? Um, is entertainment. So if you ask a Japanese person like who's the greatest entertainer on stage, they'll say Michael Jackson, right?
Hmm.
You know why? Because Michael Jackson came to Japan multiple times and did concerts, right?
Yes.
If you say who's the greatest like sports person, they'll say Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant because they came to Japan. They Jordan shoes all over the place, right? Um, if you ask anything else, if you say who's in tech, right?
Hmm.
They'll say someone completely different, like, or maybe some Japanese person if they're into that or whatever, because of their culture. But if you talk about black people, right, the only black person that they know, right, that comes over to Asia in massive groups are people from the continent of Africa. Direct.
Mm.
That's it.
Mm.
Like, we don't come over to Asia now recently, since I've been here for like 17 going on, well, since I've been here for 18 years basically. Um Total, we've been having a mass of black people coming to the continent because of the younger generation, because of their love for anime and manga and the Japanese culture through that, but because opportunities have opened up because they're going to college, getting their degrees, and they're coming in as a student, right? Most black people that will come to Japan and live here for an extended amount of time, and I mean expats, I'm not talking about tourism, I'm talking about being an expat, which you actually live in the country,
Mm.
is they would come through either entertainment or the military. That's
Makes sense.
that's
Okay.
yeah, that's basically it. Entertainment. So they would be in those bands. They would be musicians that would get a deal or something, and they would come to Japan. Like a musician that's on the back end of his career. They would be at Billboard, like live jazz houses and stuff, and they get paid a lot of money doing like what they would call the Asia tour, right? Because in Asia they take care of you if they really love you as an artist. Like, you could be an obscure artist and find out that they love you in Japan or love you in Asia, and some rich person, because they just love the music and love you as a person, they'll just throw money at you for you to come over and live for like 6 7 months and work in one of the high end clubs, and you're getting
Right.
tips, right? But that also leads to another thing. And the other thing is it's mainly black men that if they come over that they're here. It's not that many black women, right? So what do you think that leads to? Well, that leads to men, black men being in Japan being pretty much um the Instagram thought models before it was a thing, right?
Mm.
Because you get these women that are outside of the society and the norm of Japan, like they don't like Japanese men, and they or they don't like men in their culture in Asia, or they're interested, but they have some money, but they're not the prototypical body type of what an Asian man would want, like the skinny, petite, almost about to fall out,
Right.
developed uh,
Right.
woman, and then they latch on to the black man, or the what they would call the foreigner, not just the black man, but this happens overall, and then they date or marry that guy, and that guy is pretty much pigeonholed to pretty much be a trophy husband. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? He's not, you know what I mean? He's not going to be able to match his full potential, especially in the Japanese. And I'm just speaking from what I know and what I've seen. And I'm talking about between Japan, China, and Korea. Of course, Russia, you know what I mean, and Australia are different. Um, um, I've been to Australia. You don't have a problem with matching your potential and actually exceeding it as a black person. Like, if someone,
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what you mean by, so far as potential, I'm gonna get into that too. So say if
Mhm,
you wanna like go outside the norm, like you wanna like let's say if going to college or you want to major in like get something medical or anything, you will have a big support system, or you want to start a small business as a black person in that country, you will have more support. Because like compared to like in America, it can be very difficult at times, especially you as a black man. Like they want to see, people want to see results, before they actually start supporting you and lifting your business to the
mhm.
ground up. So I just want to say, like, contrast to Japan too. I was thinking, do you think that far as like starting businesses and creating like a legacy, you think it would be a lot more efficient for like a black man compared to America?
Yes and no. So
Okay.
let me put it to you like this. I would say no for the simple fact of the matter is that you're not going to come here and just start a business. Um, Point blank, period. Right. You need the connections to do so. But the first thing that you need to do is there's only three ways to stay in this country. And one of them operate around a visa. And the most surefire way for you to stay in this country long term is for you to either have a work visa, which is only a year at a time. They just changed the law because depending on what your skill level is and what you bring to the table because of the Olympics that was going on, and they were having issues with that. Far as a technical standpoint, you can only have a 1-year visa at a time as a work visa. The second thing is, depending on what country you came from, not the United States at all, but the Europe countries, you can do what they call a working visa or a holiday visa, right? Because you can get a job while you're here on vacation, and that visa will last you 6 months to a year, and it's actually easy for you to get a job. Now, if you're a black man, from America, you can't do that. You got to have either a tourist visa, which is 90 days, which you can't work on, or you got to have a working visa, which you got to kind of find a job when you get over here as a tourist, or you got to actually have one beforehand when you get here, and then your pay is going to be trash for the first 2 years, or you got to be married or have.
That's interesting. I mean, cut you off. So regardless, so say if you got like a master's degree and stuff in America, you come here and you still going through that new process, like your salary still would be like treated like, as a person that's just new here, like with no experience. Wow.
Yeah. Like basically, okay, so say you got a master's degree in robotics, right? Let's just say hypothetically, right, in robotics, right? And you want to work in Japan, right? Okay. So if you're not going through a company, right? If say you get hired by a company in the US and they send you over, that's on the company's dime, everything's done for you, you're going to get your salary.
Right.
But you're trying to work for a Japanese company. Okay, do you speak or read Japanese fluent?
No.
No, right? So you're going to have that master's degree in robotics, but guess what you're going to be doing when you get here? You're going to be teaching English. That's it. Case closed.
That makes okay.
Right? You
got that standards,
yeah, because you can't use it because everything's in Japanese, right? So you can't speak and communicate, and it's something that technical. It's a Japanese person, so you need to go through a translator. So you go and get here. Now you get that English teacher job, right? It's an English teacher job. You're a teacher, right? So what the teachers make in the state, they be between like 40,000, maybe.
It depends. Yeah, if you're a professor, you can make close to 90,000.
Yeah. Okay. So you got a master's degree. You come to Japan. Guess what? You need a visa, right? You got to get a company, right? The company's going to hit you over the head for work visas. Work visas don't cost that much, but they'll be taking money out of your pocket every month for that work visa. You need a place to stay. Guess what? They're going to put you in a company apartment, or they're going to co-sign a lease for you. You can't just go sign for an apartment. To get an apartment when you get here in your own name, you got to at least have a visa for at least 3 to 5 years. You're only going to get a 1-year visa. Now you're behind the 8 ball again. Now you need a phone to communicate. You really can't communicate. You know why? Because you can't get a phone contract unless you have at least a 2-year or more visa. Now if you got a 1-year visa, then you can get the phone contract, but you can't do like the monthly payments of the phone. You would literally have to get the phone and pay it up front, right?
Okay.
Then once you move into the house and whatever, certain companies, you need internet. You won't be able to get that. You know what I'm saying? Unless somebody co-sign for you or whatever. Now, when you're working, you're not working your 5 hour, you're not working your 5 days a week, your 40-hour work week. No, you're actually working like a Japanese person. You're working 6 days a week, right? You're leaving the house early because wherever you're going to be working at is at least 45 minutes to 90 minutes away, one way on a commute, right? Then got one day off, which is Sunday, right? Or one day out of the week or whatever. Because if you're an English teacher, you're not just teaching English in like a high school where you're just there every day. They're moving you around depending on the company. So you'll be at this junior high school for 2 days. You'll be at this high school maybe for one day out of the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll be at this elementary school, and then you'll be doing what they call these cram schools. You know what I mean? These JUCOs after. So you probably will go to work. You'll leave to go to work. You may be doing morning classes, which they say morning classes like right before lunch, right? And afternoon classes is right after lunch, right? And then you'll be doing evening stuff, which is the JUCOs and stuff like that. So you'll like leave the house probably about 8 o'clock. You get to work like 10:30, do your whatever you got to do. Then you won't get home or off work until 8, 9.
Wow. And that's like a daily thing.
That's like a daily thing, and this is what you're talking about. Like these are the three top level companies, right? Now, if you get a lick or you get hooked up, you might go into a private company where you're teaching, right? You're not moving around like that.
Okay.
So with that, what happens with that is you're only working at a daycare or kindergarten. So you're basically an overgrown kindergarten teacher, but you're not even there to teach anything. You're just there as what they would call it, daycare. You're just there for daycare because
Okay.
they're not learning English because they want to learn. They're learning English because it's a faddish thing to do. And this is in Japan. Now Korea and China. Oh, Korea, China, uh, um, was it Cambodia, Vietnam,
Yes.
Southeast Asia? They take teaching English seriously. That's why they're at the top of the food chain when it comes to speaking English in Asia, besides Australia and the Pacific Islands and stuff like that. But you're talking about the major, like, Asian countries. Japan is at the bottom when it comes to speaking English per capita. Period.
Wow.
Yeah,
So, because Japan, yeah, because I know Japan, they focus more technology, animation, things like that,
yeah,
creation, television series, because they got a lot of entertainment down there too. But you said that's real key. You have to at least know the culture, know the Japanese
yeah,
language as much as possible. If not, they're gonna give you to that teaching job. Now, say if you're a brother, you of course you can self-educate yourself on that along the way for
right.
Japanese. So it's the salary. I was gonna
Mhm.
ask, like, say if you take the teaching jobs for English, is the salary decent enough for you to at least live, in
I would
Japan?
say it is, but it isn't, right? So
Mhm.
let me put it to you like this: you're going to make between 2,500 to $3,000 off of one job, and that's actually being nice. Like that's actually being really lenient. Usually, you're sitting about 25 to 28, and that's like the 28 is before taxes, the 23 to 25 is after taxes, right?
Okay.
All right. So you think about where you live at. Your apartment is about $500 to $800. You're talking about now of course in Japan they pay your transportation. Your health care is good because they pay 75% universal health care. So you go to
Okay.
the hospital, you only pay a 25% deductible. And if you go to the hospital too many times, they'll refund your money. You know what I mean? They got it because of how much money you make. So that's not an issue. The issue is the cost of living in Japan. Um, you'll notice that you'll pay a lot of money. Everything's expensive, depending on what prefecture you live in. I live in Kanagawa. Everything's expensive for no reason.
Mm.
So if you was to come to Japan and you want to get immersed into the culture, you would want to get a job and you would want to live in an area that was more royal or country. And what I mean is like you talking about Shizuoka, you're talking about Nagoya, not Nagoya, the city itself, but in Aichi, in that area like that, the surrounding places. You would talk about living in Osaka, you know what I'm saying, and work your way down, right?
Okay.
Um, and the reason is because utility bills are cheaper. Food is like fresher because it's from the country area. It's cheaper. It's less expensive to live, and you can probably put yourself on a budget where you can actually enjoy yourself. And then the country areas, they're not as high speed moving. So I was giving you a work schedule for a teacher that was in like Kanagawa, like in Tokyo, right? Like Tokyo, Yokohama, in the area that I live in the prefecture that I live in or state. Those other things vary. Like I have friends that work in those places, so you're not going to make the type of money that you would make. Like, so that guy with that master's degree in robotics,
Mm-hmm.
he's not making anywhere near his potential. Period. He's not.
Because of the language, like he doesn't speak the language so
He doesn't
fluently.
speak or read the language. Now you got a second problem. The only people that speak language that you can understand and learn from are women, right? Women speak English at a higher clip and a higher level fluently or natively or conversationally more than men. So you take 10 people in Japan that can speak English, right? And out of those 10 people, 7.5 of them are women. Now, here's the problem. Japan is a patriarchal society. Women are at the bottom of the food chain, way at the bottom. Now, here's the other issue. Japanese men and Japanese women speak differently. So that if you start speaking Japanese and you learn it from a woman, you sound like a female. That means you have no authority in any of the words speaking. That means no one will respect what you got to say.
That's interesting because that's the total opposite. Like
Mhm.
in America, man, it's very matriarchal. But okay,
Yeah, exactly.
wow,
Yeah. So people don't know that part.
yeah,
Then you're a foreigner, right? You're not Japanese. Remember, Japan is very homogeneous. 98% of the people that are in Japan are Japanese, right? The 2% that are there are foreigners. Now you got to say that black people, black Americans, and then the black Americans, and if you take the men and the women together, which is more men than women, black men than black women that are here, right? Excluding the base, take the base out of the equation. And even if you were to lump them in, out of that 2%, and you say that 2% of the whole, we only amount to about 5% of that.
wow.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like,
That's really interesting, man. I mean,
yeah.
just like how they enforce like these standards here, like I mean, that's what you gotta do. I mean, you enter someone's country, it's someone's territory. You gotta kind of, you know, like because it's really interesting though. Because like I think about this, I think we talked about this too, me and Yusuf, and
Mhm.
well, it's just so easy, like in the black community, and that's a whole different story though too.
Yeah.
How like the generational wealth is so different. But in the African American community, I mean, you got Arabs and over there, and then different people from different cultures just come over here. Don't even speak the language. Some of them, and then establish business, and we continuously patronize them, and they take our money and take care of their families. Like, but I just really find that interesting though, as far as like individual communities. Now I know country itself is maybe different, but though you said as African American, you just basically not gonna do what you want to do in that country, without going through the process.
Well, going through I'm like, but everybody has to go through the process. The difference is that, you actually have it better off than people from the continent, right?
Hmm.
Because they are put under ridiculous scrutiny, right? Because of, the nature of how they come into the country. Not all of them, not well, I would just say from Nigeria and Ghana, they usually come most of the time on nefarious means. They don't come straight over the right way.
Hmm.
What I mean? You
Well,
got to do
so
what you got
yeah.
to do. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. I'm not judging them. You got to do what you got to do, right? You know what I mean? So you would, what I mean? They would come over however, whatever, however, so they have more scrutiny. Whereas a black person, people want to discount this, like next time I have to go up to immigration, I'll show you. Like, I'll do a vlog and show you this is immigration, right? Like when I walk into immigration, I walk up to the counter, the person that looks at me, and then they're already prepared. And then when I put my passport on the table and it says the United States of America, my stuff goes through quickly, right? No problem. I'm in and out of immigration in 10 minutes,
Mm.
right? Whereas a person from the continent that looks like me, same complexion as me, They walk up to the counter, and if theirs is not from England or somewhere in Europe or Canada or like even Jamaica kind of gets a little scrutinized, but not really.
Yeah.
If that passport pops up from Nigeria, Ghana, um, you know, they're getting scrutinized.
Mm.
Now, a person that's from Tunisia or Egypt or Kenya or what is it? Anywhere on the East Coast, like they're from Somalia to a certain
Oh, yeah.
degree. What I mean, they're from those areas, a certain stuff like that. South Africa, the Congo, central part of the continent, North Africa, whatever.
Ethiopia, yeah.
Yeah, Ethiopia. They don't have no problems like that.
So okay, so they kind of discriminate. So if you're part of like the west part of Africa, you may be.
Mhm.
So do you know what's number one reason for that?
Because they always doing the most.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they
They
they pretty
always
much kept
involved in the most. Yeah,
they
they
kept
always
a
in
track
the
record of those type of people that always just
Yeah, they doing the most,
yeah.
and here's the thing, it's not I'm not disparaging them, and I'm not going off on them, but you know how in America they say the Africans always got their stuff together, right?
Right.
We always okay, you're getting the best of the best, right? And so if you meet a Nigerian or Ghanaian um from the continent and they are living in the United States and they have their family, they one they have a certain visa. Two, it costs $3,000 to get a visa per person
Mm.
to move to live in the United States or Europe, especially from a country of Africa. You had to pay more. You had to pay more, right? Then for that classification to go down, you have to be an asset. So, like you said, right, you gotta have a degree in something. So, if they got a master's degree in mathematics, robotics, doctorates, or something like that in the medical field, or they're a tech surgeon or whatever, something like that, of course, the United States will want them to come in. So, they start to wave down that visa. So, they
Right.
start to they're recruited. So, they come over. Then you got somebody that got a business or something, they can pool their resources together to get that person over. Then, if they're an immigrant, they're coming over and they're doing these assets and stuff like that. They come from a well-grounded family or something like that. Then you get that. So the best of the best from the West Coast or the continent of Africa, they go into Europe or America or into the North America. The what we would call the hood or the people that come up by your bootstraps to get in how you fit in, they go to Asia or South America.
Mm.
The ones that you see on television walking with the buckets of water on their head and
Yeah.
jumping with crocodiles, um, quote unquote, they call them bush niggas. That's what other Africans call each other.
Okay.
No, that's what they call them. They call them bush niggas.
Thinking they doing something today in the South America.
Yeah. They go to Asia. They go to
Yeah,
Asia,
yeah.
and Japan. Those are the more civil ones.
Mhm.
But the ones that are in like Thailand and Southeast Asia, the Philippines, or the ones that's in like China, they're doing the worst. Like they're doing like all those little. I am an African prince. Can you give me your email and things so I can give you the $50?
Right.
And, that little email scam.
Yeah.
Call it the scam. Yeah, that's them. That's them.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, because that's interesting. Yeah, because I'm looking like man, it usually be someone from India too, or yeah, they had a little accent. It's like, yeah, this is called. I'm like, how did you even get this number? We just
yeah,
need
how
your
do
credit
you
card information. It's not. I'm looking like this. Is that they hustle?
Yeah, that's the hustle. Like, that's the hustle.
Yeah.
Or but it's not like they stay in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they stay in it. They just doing it just like any black person that got lower means or any like I wouldn't even say that. Like, any person with lower means, you hustling just to survive. And then if you hit your lick, if you smart enough, you try to legitimize yourself and do something else. Right. So, but they have a community where they take care of each other, right? They keep it within the community. They work out for each other, and they don't do something to the point where they're going to jail, right? Like most of the time in Japan, most of their crimes are overstayed, right? What it means is they overstayed their visa. Their visa isn't legitimate because they came over under nefarious means, and
Right.
the visa process isn't working out. So basically, what they do is they come over here, they work a BS job, they got hooked up by one of their friends or something like that, right? And then they out in the club and they looking for a Japanese woman that is okay looking, but way outside of what a Japanese man would want, right? Um, and her family's got to have some type of money. They will sniff out some money with a chick, right? Then they get with this chick, they do their thing, they marry this chick, they work that BS job, and then they open a business. They get their permanent visa where they can be here permanently, and they're not like year to year or every 3 years, and then they get a permanent visa. They get their permanent visa. They open up a store. Back in the day, it was the hip hop shops, right? Every place you went to go buy some Timberlands, and they would be knockoffs. They wouldn't even be real. It'll be from Korea or something like that. But no, for real, it's like it's. But you couldn't dress how your culture was. Like if you're black from or whatever, right? You couldn't dress how your culture was unless you had the gear to do so, right? So
Right.
you would go to the hip hop store. They would charge you like for some sneakers they know that's knockoffs, right? Like
Yeah. They
like
gonna price
the
it.
yeah, the jump man ain't even dunking, the jump man is windmilling. That's how bad it is, right? But
Mm.
ain't nobody gonna see you in the club, and they like you only gonna get 2 months out of them because you got to walk in Japan everywhere. The soul might come off on you one day while you walking, right? So, but they would charge you like almost Jordan prices if you was stupid enough not to get along with it, like get away with it, right?
Well, we kind of do that here in America too. I mean, most of the
Yeah,
stuff is created through the sweatshops and stuff like that overseas. Because I mean, you look at it, you like, dang, made from Vietnam, made from this, and then
yeah,
you charging us $300 for these shoes.
but it's high quality, right? Like there's
Yeah.
no difference. Like when I mean knockoff, I mean this wasn't made in a legitimate sweatshop, right? This
Mm.
was made and Uncle Lou went and snatched the shoes up off the truck
The
and
basement,
he up
right?
there putting it together in the basement and just printing them out, and then they grabbing them up and they bringing them back, right? And they selling them. And I don't knock they hustle; it's legal. They can do it, right? If you
Yeah.
buy it, that's on you. And they're charging you money, but they got to make their money, right? So it's a business, right? They legitimizedly have a business and whatever. And you can tell, like, look, you can't go into a Foot Locker, buy a pair of Jordans for like $350, $400
Mm.
and say, you know what, I don't want these on the counter and about to walk out. And the dude from Foot Locker sit up there and say, okay, I give it to you for 200. So how did you just go down by $200? So
Right.
you already know they did, so it's not like, when you play this game, but it's like, they do it. So that was the hip hop shops. Then Dr. J's came out,
Oh yeah, I
right?
remember that.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Killed their business, destroyed it, right? Because people start ordering online, right? You know what I'm saying? Now in the country areas, they still making money, but in Kanagawa, they're not because it's a lot of military bases. So Dr. J's, you can get legitimate stuff for cheap, and then you can get it shipped over. Killed their business, right? So what happened is they kept their businesses open, but they start getting into the auto industry, right? Start shipping cars and stuff back to the
Okay.
continent, right? So think about it, because I always wanted to know, right? I call it the terrorist starter kit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You notice when you look at a terrorist with the starter kit, they are on a Toyota pickup truck with a
Yes.
mounted
Emery.
50 caliber
Yep.
gun with an AK,
Yep.
right? Now, here's the thing. No one ever asked this question. Where did the 50 caliber come from? And where did the Toyota come from? And how did you get it?
Right.
Right? No one asked that question, right? And the question is they're importing them from Japan, from the Nigerian and Ghanaian dealers, right? All the cars and stuff like that. So in Japan, you keep a car for 5 years, right? And you get rid of it. The older your car is, the more expensive it is for the taxes and stuff. So
Oh wow.
Japanese don't drive their cars like we do, right? So you can have a car that's like 5 years old and it can be quote unquote, it can have about 20,000, 30,000 miles on it, If you got a Toyota, you ain't even break it in yet. Like you ain't even did nothing to it, right? And then you get rid of it and you get another car, right? You know what I'm saying? And then what you do with that car? That car is what? It's nothing wrong with it, right? So you try to sell it internally in Japan. Nobody want it used. So, you know what I mean? You put it in a shipping container, right? You get your shipping container for 10 grand. You can put 2 sedans in there or 3 of those little small box cars. You get another shipping container for another 10 grand, and you put all the parts from the rest of the cars that's in strapped down, and you ship that over, right? So guess what? That car in Japan, once it's past its date, you probably get about, depending on how popular the car is, if it's a passenger vehicle, like a van or something like that, you probably get about like maybe 5 to 8 grand out of it. You ship it over to the continent of Africa, that's a brand new car. That's $25,000 to $30,000 per car. That
somebody would pay for that. Yeah, wow.
You pay for it, right? Now, think about it. When you look on the news and you look at these other countries, right? Like you talk about Europe, you talk about Africa, and you see these Japanese cars, right? Where do you think they came from? Most of those aren't brand new. And when I mean Europe, I'm not talking about England or France or Germany or the major. I'm talking about the other city states. Like, you know what I mean? We talk about certain parts of Italy, certain parts of Spain, Malta, Greece, Montenegro, Croatia, the Ukraine, all parts of the continent of Africa, South America, Southeast Asia. Remember the what I said is these brothers from the southeast. I mean, these brothers from the west coast of Africa, they're hustling, and I have no problem with them hustling. I actually work with a lot of them, so a lot of the stuff that I've seen is my observations, and I'm telling you what you got to do. The problem with black people is they think they're in America. They try to come over. They try to get on the quote unquote economic titty of the country, and you can't do that. You are an immigrant. You got a short window to work or in their country, on their economy. You understand the system, and you need to get off their economy, and you need to build your own business. If not, you take your butt back to your own country.
That's okay. And I'm saying you sometimes you can't. So basically, you basically you can't be complacent when you get here. And I mean, like it's good to work a job, but if you just relying on that primary source of income, you may it may be a struggle for you. So you got to eventually like use that as a temporary, stepping stone. Like, okay, this is what I need to do. I'm saving this money and then start my own and hustle. I mean, that's only if you really want to like kind of live comfortably in Japan.
The only way that you can never, and I'm gonna be honest with you, you can never live comfortably in Japan, and I'm gonna tell you why. As a foreigner, because at a moment's notice they can change a rule and you'll be out of here. So because it's Asia, it's a homogeneous nation. Like if you was in Australia, that's a whole different ballgame because Australia, even though it's in Asia, they have a westernized society and government, right? So Japan has a long history of expelling what they would call a cleansing of the foreigners. Right? Remember, this country closed its borders to the world at one time.
Yeah.
And wish you would do anything about it. They don't care, right? No, for real, like if you have to you have to see the world as it is to make it how you want to be, right? So you have to be a pragmatist at the end of the day to a certain degree. Not extreme, but you have to understand where your pecking order is. And because so you won't get your feelings hurt when it happens. Right?
Okay.
So what I mean is you can never live comfortably in Japan is because there are very few foreigners that are retired living in Japan. Very few, right? And when I mean retired, like my father-in-law, he's retired, right? He's like my wife is she's half Japanese and British. He's British, he's retired, but guess what? He made all of his money outside of Japan. He didn't make a lot of money in Japan. And the money that he makes that's in Japan is something that he does for a hobby. Like he teaches indoor soccer and outdoor soccer to kids. He's been doing it for like 20 years, right? So he likes to do it, right? It's nothing. It's not like if he wanted to be really successful, of course he could. But then there comes some what we call the iron ceiling thing, right? So but you don't see that, right? And the people that are retired in Japan, they're like ex-military or people that work for the embassy, or
Right.
they're rich. But if you're really that rich, why would you pay all this money where your money would go super long if you lived in Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam?
Exactly.
You actually can retire and everything's cheaper. The cost of living is way down and the weather's way better, nicer. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you want to retire? You know what I mean? Or unless you can live in Okinawa, you know what I mean? But that's like you living in like a cheaper version of Hawaii. So you might as well just go live in Hawaii if you wanted to. Like if you really think about it, Japan is not a place for you to retire and then you're always worried about money and then you are not really going to get into the Japanese culture, right? Where your major place for you to make money, right? Give you a perfect example. The president of Nissan, what happened to him?
Oh, let me look at it. Didn't he
Yeah, he had to dip out, right?
Yeah, he had to
He had to dip
resign.
out. He had to resign, right? He didn't resign. They set him up, they locked him up, and they fired him, right? And the reason is because, and this is the major reason, right?
Yeah.
Well, he was moving money and he was this. Nah, what it was is Nissan was dying. They called him in. He made Nissan a whole bunch of money, right? He got his money, but what they wanted him to do was they wanted to push him out because, okay, we see what you did. Now we got it. Remember, he was there for 19 years, right? Now you retire at 20. They would have to pay him a pension. They didn't want to pay it to him. Plus, he knew all the dirt. Then he got all the money. He was getting paid what he was supposed to get paid, right? They wanted him to get paid what they wanted him to get paid so they can get the bulk of the money. That's how Japanese companies work. The employees, the managers, the CEOs, they just run the company, right? The owners don't do anything. Right?
Wow.
They just show up and collect money. If you see the owner and it's not like a special ceremony or one of those drinking parties and he show up to the company, oh, you getting fired. Somebody's getting fired.
Yeah, they I'm looking at them now. Yeah, it's like an international fugitive now. I mean,
Well, not really. He's not because
17.
where he's at, there's no extradition.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he's Lebanese. There's no extradition. They can't
Okay.
extradite, right? So what happened is Japan's laws are draconian, right? Right. This is what they do, right? This is what they did to him, and this is what they do to everybody, right? So you're a foreigner, this is going to happen to you. Okay. If you do a crime in Japan, right? Unless somebody reports it right then and there. Say you're doing something when they're investigating. Japanese have an 87 to 89% conviction rate. Right? Because Japanese people mainly snitch on themselves because of pressure. Because in Japan, it's easier for Japanese if they just admit to something, whether they did it or not, right? Then to get it over with. Now, here's the thing, right? What they'll do is they'll arrest you, right? After they did their investigation, right? And they'll take you to jail. You don't see a lawyer at all. They can hold you for 20 days without you talking to or seeing anybody. They'll bring you into a room every day for 12 hours and ask you the same questions over and over again. Right? They won't smack you up like you see in the US.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Interrogation.
Right? Yeah. Then if you don't answer those questions or whatever, you say the same thing over and over again, they'll release you, but then they'll rearrest you outside of the police precinct, bring you back in under new charges.
Now, see, you can't do that in in America. That's crazy, man. So,
yeah. So
wow.
Basically, what they do is they mentally
break you down.
So you can just say, I did it to get it over with because you're tired. Not to me, it doesn't mean that you're guilty. Right. It just means that they got to do it because they ain't got nothing else to do because they already did it, right? Then when you go to jail finally, right, or you go to the court proceedings, your lawyer's not trying to get you off. your lawyer is trying to bargain already with the prosecutor because they're friends, right? For you just to admit to your guilt, not to get you off, right? So when you go to jail, then when you get out of jail, right? And even if it's like they'll do the little time serve, maybe not. Once you get out of jail, guess what? Your visa's already up. So now immigration is snatching you up.
Yep.
And then you're getting, or if you get out of jail on a bond or something like that, you can't leave. Then you got to do the immigration thing, but you're already getting kicked out. You already know you're getting kicked out. So they send you out of here. So you just lost everything, whatever, whether you did it or not, or whether you didn't do it, right? So this is what happens, right? And if it's against the Japanese, they're going to take their word against yours. So that's why that guy ran. That's why he dipped like that.
I won't blame him. Yeah,
that's what they did to him. They had him in jail for like 60 to 80 days.
Jeez.
Right? And then he was on house arrest, and then they came back and rearrested him, put him in jail for another 20 days. Like before he left, it was in Japanese news for like a whole year what they was doing to this guy. Right? Then he finally said, I'm out, and he dipped. Right? Because he knew that he wasn't going to get a fair trial because the people in power, they start getting snatched up for the corruption they was doing. So they blame it on what they call blame it on the foreigner. If the
foreigner, right. Because they know they're going to have that least power in the court. So wow. I mean, they don't even give you a right to a lawyer first, even if you've just been convicted of crime. Wow.
The Japanese laws and their draconian practices are actually under a lot of scrutiny. After that happened, they had a lot of foreigners run out of Japan.
Yeah.
That, right. And a lot of businesses start to pull out after that, right before the Olympics. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. Like Japan was about to be exposed for a lot of stuff that they're doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people don't know this is what happens, but this is when you live in a homogeneous patriarchal society. So when people sit up here, they say they want to be like, you know, these groups of men that say they want to be in a patriarchal society. No, because if you're in a patriarchal society like that, and if you're not the majority in power, the homogeneous majority in power, it's going to be way worse for you. Just like in the United States when it was a patriarchal society like that in the beginning, and what happened? There was slavery.
Yeah.
Right. There was like literally black people slaved up when it started to kind of move, and it's not a matriarchy. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a plutocracy. When it moved to a plutocracy, that's when you start seeing the advent of not needing slavery and stuff like that because of the technological advancement of certain things, right? So, but even so, this is what I'm talking about. This is not the dirty side, but the real side of Japan, right? Now, now the thing is, can you operate a business? Yes, you can. This is how you operate a business. You have to make connections. You have to get something that you can bring to the table that they want, but you got to be able to sell to your own people.
So sell to your own people, meaning that the people that look like me or people that speak the same language as me. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So put it to you like this, right? When people from India, from the country of India, they come over, right? Right. They have Indian restaurants.
Right.
Whether they're good or not, right? Now, do the Indian people that are in Japan, right? Not all of them do this. Some of them in clothing, because they were in the clothing industry before the people from the continent of Africa were, right? Right. So in Japan and Asia, because they've been having that type of deal for centuries, right? So what that means is that do they eat at these restaurants? No, they do not. They do not eat at those restaurants, right? They only eat at certain Indian restaurants, and most of the Indian restaurants are not Indian. They're actually Nepalese from Nepal. Right?
Okay.
Right. They just push the Indian narrative because that's what you know for. It's popular, right? Now they're selling to people that like Indian culture, right? Right? They're in places where people like Indian culture, Southeast Asia, stuff like that. But the Japanese love to go eat there. They don't eat there regularly, but they eat there at a bigger clip, right?
Mhm.
Now they can speak the language, they can communicate to a certain degree, and they do whatever they do, but they stay within their communities and keep their stuff up. And then they're getting ingrained into the local thing by one, donating to the politicians, right?
That's
Getting on the council, the city council, and doing stuff like that, right? And that keeps their business afloat. But this is what they also do. They hand down the business to their relatives that come in, right? So the Indian guy that opens up the business with his family makes the money. He makes the money, the business starts flourishing. Then he opens up a second business, right? He'll jump into something else, right?
okay.
Then he'll bring over a cousin that's actually like a chef, that's a restaurant owner or something like that, that really want to do it, right? He comes over, he does it. Then he moves into shipping cars back to India or Nepal or whatever, right? Then he goes back home and then he opens up a business back home, which he couldn't do because he needed the resources to do so. Now he's got a connection into Japan with Japanese businessmen, and he gets them into India through him as the middleman.
Wow, that's a long-term wealth. That's actually real smart in a way.
Well, that's how all immigrants operate,
Wow.
right? Because you asked the question, how can you open up a business in Japan?
Right.
How is it for Black people? What type of jobs can you get? But you're thinking of you're thinking on a way of westernizing, of coming to a country and living there and sucking up their resources, right? And they're not going to allow you to do that, right? You think because you see the immigrants that are in the US, like whatever, that they are doing that. No, they're actually sending that money back home for the next generation. And then if anything can hit the fan, they got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So they can just jump out and then they go back to their own country and they
exactly and do well because the foundation they set in that country. Wow, that's
yeah,
damn, that's really key. Thanks for explaining that to me. Guess you kind of wrote some things down. That's important. That's a real power move. Like you say, immigrants, they do that in America too. I noticed, especially like Koreans and stuff, when they open up the shops here, they definitely invest into their kids' education. They do all that stuff and send home. I remember when I was working at a hospital, I was working with he was from I think what part of Africa? I was in Lagos, I believe, but he was from there and he was real nice, man. Yeah. And he was just saying, yeah, man, been in this country for a while and stuff like that. He just basically he saves money and he's just sending back home, And I was just like, wow, like that's just.
Well, we can't and that's what I'm saying. This is why I advocate for responsible travel of Black folk. Right. And this is the reason why I advocate for it. Okay. You are in America, right? You are behind on resources. You know what I'm saying? We all know Black people are disproportionate, like when it comes to wealth. We all know this. It's not like a black or white thing. It's the truth, right? We know this, right? Like you just said, you know what I mean? Because you said the guy's from Lagos. He's a doctor, whatever. Guess what? He's considered a Black person, right? Right. So let's just say affirmative action is in place, right? You have a doctor's degree, right? You have a doctor's degree. You got student loans because student loan debt is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He walks up. Y'all going for the same job, same credentials, same everything. He's going to get the job before you. You know why? Here's a 2-factor. One, you're a doctor, but he's a doctor, but he's got way more experience than you. Because it's easy to get a doctor's degree in a country of Africa than it is to get it in a westernized country. So he already came here with experience, plus he's just getting a degree in the college that he's just doing review, learning new techniques. That's it, right? He's got clinical practice way better than anybody, right? Because he's already put in the work, right? The second thing is that he's an immigrant. They get extra discounts and bonuses and stuff. So the company get an extra tax break, They get a tax break on high minorities, but they get a bigger tax break on high immigrants. Then what you
Okay.
don't know is him being an immigrant, he gets extra tax breaks from the government. He doesn't pay taxes for 5 years. Ain't
Okay.
that a stimulus plan?
Okay. Okay. And that's constitute like say if this individual purchased like a vehicle and it's over 5 years, like you don't have to pay taxes on it.
He don't have to pay taxes on it. So think about all of the Koreans and the Chinese that come over and open up a business, right?
Right.
You've probably been perusing that business for 5 years. You go in there and you don't see the person that you normally see behind the counter. You don't even see the family anymore. What happens is they move to another person's business, right? And then the new people come in there. You know, the prices go up all of a sudden. The quality goes down for about a year, right? Store might close down, open back up, and then it's got a different name because their new cousin that came in, he's got the business. So they transfer the business in his name, but they're still getting the money off of it because it resets the tax thing.
That's so. Oh my god, yeah, because that makes sense. I remember I was in America. I think a while ago. It's like years ago, man. It was our favorite Chinese restaurant. it kind of like it was still there, but like it was just different. Like it was like we had different owners. The food was different. I mean, it's like dang, like what happened, But
what happened? But you still, but you don't even know. So when the immigrants go into westernized culture and they say, "Oh, we pulled up from the bootstraps," no, that was back during World War II. That was the boomer era. That was like the early '80s. Now they getting handed out stimulus packages, right? So when I say black people have disproportionate wealth, we're treated like immigrants, but we're actually citizens.
Okay.
Right? And then, so now you're getting pushed down with that. So this is why I advocate for responsible travel, right? And what I mean responsible travel is every black person, and I even do it, right? I even did it for a while, and I realized that was the dumbest thing that I could ever say out of my mouth. In hindsight, 2020, right? I escaped America, right? I escaped, right? I'm doing well for myself over here, right? And whatever. But when that earthquake hit, I realized how much I'm American because I had to scramble and do a whole bunch of stuff. And if I had connections back home and businesses and housing and stuff like that, if some stuff popped off, I can just go back
there and
just wait it out.
Exactly, and go back.
Exactly. So I'm not connected to my country like I need to be, right? Business wise, like you making all this money, I could have been investing into businesses and having those connections and flying back and forth and making money globally unilaterally, right? Using my immigrant understanding and then seeing and applying that to America and using my benefits and certain things like that, right? So I'll give you a perfect example, right? Okay. If I'm doing business, right, with a Japanese person, right, and they're trying to do something like in the entertainment industry, they're trying to get an artist, right? They get a tax break if they do international business. I got a $250 LLC, right? We need to transfer the money. Well, if they send the money directly to this person, they're going to lose money through break transfers and all this other stuff, and then someone has to account for this. So this is where I come into play, right? They're going to have their production company here. I do not have to have a full-fledged production company, right? I just have to have an LLC. An LLC is licensed internationally, $250, right? So I got my paperwork. The guy transfers it to my business account, right? You walk into a bank with an LLC business account, you can get a loan of $30,000 off rip.
You walk into a bank with LLC?
A LLC. A $250 LLC out of Florida or out of Texas where you have no state taxes, right? You walk into a bank, you provide your paperwork, you can get a line of credit for $30,000.
Wow. You know that.
Right?
Okay.
Right? Now you can get that minimum. You walk into a bank, preferably do it in a credit union because the credit union is backed by the federal government, by the Fed, right?
True. Yep.
So you get a lower interest rate. Plus, it's a small business loan to start off your business because your LLC has what? It has a tax ID number.
Yeah.
Right. So you have a tax ID number. You are the sole proprietor of this LLC, and you're also an employee of the LLC. So what happens is if the money goes into the account, right? But the money is used to transfer to this artist account through the contract for the artist to get paid, then the money goes in and it goes out. But guess what? The artist is going overseas. Guess what? If you personally only make under $100,000 a year, you don't pay taxes on that. If you're overseas, right?
Okay.
If your business makes under $200,000 a year, guess what? You don't pay taxes on that because your business is operating overseas, even though it is based in the United States. You just show the paper trail of this business with this, and you show that back and forth, you get your money. But guess what? If I'm in Japan, I have a Japanese bank account. So what do? I split the money. I put the money in my American bank account, and in my Japanese bank account, it sits here. But since it's under the LLC, guess what happens? I don't pay any taxes on both ends of the spectrum. I save my business partners on both ends of the spectrum the money. The artists signed to these 360 deals, they get $150,000 a show, but it actually majority goes to the record company and to the agent that booked them. So out of that $150,000, they're only seeing like $35,000 to $40,000. Plus, they got to pay the manager, crews, and all this other crap. Sure. Guess what? I'm talking to them directly. They're going to come over on a promotional tour just to promote like a project that they're doing. They're going to do some little bullshit ass performances and shit. No, for real, I'm telling you how this works, right? Yeah. They're going to get their $150,000, but guess how they're going to get it? They're going to get $20,000 up front. They're going to come over. They're going to get the first show. They're going to get it allocated to them to say they just showed up as this performance and shows or whatever. And then what's going to happen before they get on that plane? They're going to get $25,000 or $50,000 in cash in hand.
Before this is you said before they perform, like running on the plane.
No, when they get to Japan, okay, they'll get the money cash in hand.
Wow.
Right, the other end of the spectrum, they'll get that money cash in hand, and then that money they'll be taken to the bank so they can deposit the money over a certain amount of time. Like this is, but everywhere around, everybody's doing what? Skipping the tax because guess what? They got the money when they was in the States, right? So then when they got over, then you put it quarterly, right? Because it's a business. Because the artist has a business account, not their personal. Right. So then that split. So guess what? They didn't on the business side, they didn't go over the 200,000. And on the for that overseas excursion, and then for on the artist on their personal account, they didn't go over the 100,000. So they don't have to pay taxes on it. So everybody makes money all which way around, right?
Yeah.
Now, the entertainment industry right now is taking a major hit because of this COVID-19 thing, but it's finicky, right? Because rap was hitting. You know, that's where I started off at doing, being a hip hop.
Yeah, I think you was telling me that. Yeah, you said you came in contact with Bow Wow before. A lot of individuals was coming over.
Yeah, so I was in hip hop. I started in the hip hop promotion when I was in the military, and then all the way up until 2000, I would say 12, I jumped out of hip hop and moved over to EDM.
And explain what EDM is. Just briefly.
EDM is like electronic dance music. So you talk about like your David Guetta's, your Avicii's, your
okay,
like pretty much like remember when Little John did that shot song? Okay, that's when I switched over, right? I switched over because I already saw the money that's going to be made, and hip hop is a pain in the butt. Because artists are always doing stupid shit where they can't get visas, they can't fly, they get locked up,
you get in trouble. That's another thing. Yeah,
they get killed, and then when they get over, it's a pain in the butt because they want to do everything in their mama, right? And they high maintenance. They're high maintenance, and they're not worth it because remember they're rappers, right? The Japanese do not understand, or Asians don't understand the full context of what you're saying. It's really they're listening to the beat.
Right. Okay.
They're listening to the beat. They don't understand the intricate what you're saying. So, and then they just go off how you look and the popularity of what you are in the culture, right? They don't really understand. Like I would have to explain things to people.
Yeah, man.
Break it down to them like, yo, this is what he actually means. So EDM is way different because it's all beat. It doesn't matter. It's a dance culture. You just, you know what I mean? And they're less maintenance. Like, I'll give it to you like this. Let's see, Bow Wow came over. It was him, his aunt, his security, and his DJ cameraman, and his 2 tour managers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were paid in ass. Now he was getting about 20,000. He's getting 20,000 to 30,000 a show, 10,000 to 15,000 for an appearance, right? Okay, paid in ass. We did. I think we did. Who did we do? Nicky Romero. Nicky Romero travels with himself and 2 people. Guess. Nicky Romero wakes up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We go eat dinner or brunch.
Mm-hmm.
He want to do some shopping. Take him around. We eat dinner. He goes back to his hotel room, go to sleep, because most of his shows is at night. We wake him up. We jump into the thing, up into the car. We in the car. We're talking. He's getting ready for the show. We get to the place at around 12, or we'll go a bit early if he does the sound checks. He'll leave. We'll go to the place about 12. If it's close to something, he'll do the sound checks like around 11 o'clock when the club's open, coming through the back entrance. We'll leave back out. We'll come back around 1 o'clock. He's in the back room, the VIP. We're talking, having a good time. He goes out there on stage. He does it for 2.5 hours. Everybody's whatever. We go back in the back. They let certain people in the VIP, bottles of pop, having a good time. We go to a private after party spot. He'll maybe DJ if he feels like it or whatever. We getting out of the club about 7, 8 in the morning. He's going back to sleep. After we eat, right? That's low maintenance, right? He's there for like 3 days. He's gone. Guess how much he cost though? 150,000 a show. Guess how much money you make off of him? Between 500,000 almost to $1 million.
Ooh. So you can make 150,000 a show, 3 days.
150,000 a show, 3 days.
Ooh, man.
Anywhere between 250,000, almost $1 million, depending on the venue and the time. Because guess what? He's low maintenance. You only had to pay for his plane ticket and 2 other people plane tickets.
Right.
Paying for Bow Wow's plane tickets. So you talk about international flight, business class, minimum Bow Wow, $10,000 to $15,000, right? You're talking about his security got to be right next to him on the plane. So that's another $15,000. That's $30,000. He ain't even did nothing for you yet. Then you talk about
right.
You're talking about maybe all the rest of the other 4 people that's coach class tickets. They'll bump those up because they travel so much, the business class. Then you got to put them in hotels, suites. Right, so he's got to have his own suite. They got to have their own hotel rooms at 5-star hotels or less. Then you got to take them around. Then you got to feed them. You got to give them per diem money.
Exactly.
Every day. So Bow Wow plus 6, right? Nicky Romero plus 2. Guess what? You get them a suite. Everybody's staying in that suite. They don't need separate hotel rooms.
I got you. That right? Now, okay, I see why you made that transition now.
Yeah. I need my bag. Like right now. Right
it's just simple. Yeah. You just, because I was like, man, I got like 20 people here. We need this. We need.
And then here's the other thing, right? You selling merch, right?
Right.
If we doing a concert with Bow Wow, we gotta have a conversation about it. We have to negotiate the merchandise. Whatever I sell on the merch, I gotta pay him a percentage because that's his likeness, right? Nicky Romero, only thing I gotta do is sell these $5 glow sticks, right?
Okay.
$5 glow sticks, or sell these balloons, or sell this weird stuff that these people like. I can get drink sponsors, right? I can get Red Bull. I can get this. I can get that. I can whatever. I can make all this money off the back end with advertisement, right? If you've been to any one of these like festivals, like Ultra or something like that, if you go there, it's the festival itself. It's not the artist being promoted with their likeness. You go to a Beyonce concert, she got her face on all the merch, right? Guess what? Beyonce getting a cut off of that merch. You got to pay Beyonce that money.
True. So basically, like far as starting off, if you want to do that, it would be good to work with someone that's kind of, like you said, like low maintenance, might not add.
I would say the way I started off is the way you start off is you actually start off in party promotion. So
Okay.
the way I started off was I gathered me and some friends. We put our money together. And the way it happened was like this, right? We were on the ship, and we were going to do a barbecue, right?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So we went to one of the parks out here. You could barbecue at the park, and everybody just brought something. So I was like, "Yo, just everybody just bring something." Right? So, you know what I mean? My wife and my homeboys and stuff, we brought food and stuff and some alcohol, but everybody was just bringing alcohol. You know what I'm saying? Just alcohol. So after it was done, most of these guys they lived on the ship or whatever. They couldn't take the alcohol back with them, so they just gave it to them, right? So I'm
Mhm.
sitting up here with like $2,000 worth of alcohol because people, you know, it's payday weekend. You're in the military overseas. You
Right.
ain't got no bills. You like a 20-year-old.
Sure
You ain't
don't.
got no bills. You ain't got no car note because you couldn't buy
You
a
got
car.
COLA, all that.
Nothing. You ain't got nothing, right?
Yeah.
So we buy $50 bottles of Hennessy. You know, this is before Ciroc came out. So I would say this is back in like 2003,
Oh,
2003,
yeah.
2004, right?
Okay.
So it's just Hennessy and Crown and you know like Bacardi. That's the only thing that you mess with. And Hypnotic came out, so you know it's Incredible Hawks going on. All
Yeah.
day. So we got the grill out there. So I just tell everybody, they say, yo, we had a good time. You know, I mean, we got a DJ. I got a dude that was a DJ because I had some turntables. He just wanted the DJ to promote him being a DJ, because he was working at this club out there. And, you know, he wanted people, you know, they didn't need a DJ if there was nobody in the club. So it was a give and go for us. So I said, yo, you can come down, you can DJ, and then you can promote and people can hear you, and then you can like, you know, whatever. So we had like 300 people at the barbecue. So we did the barbecue again. So what I did was like, look, y'all just bring yourself because y'all spending $50. When y'all spending $50, just give me 10 of that. Just give me
Mm.
$10 to show up. So what I did was it was $10 all you can eat and all you can drink, right? Top
Barbecue.
shelf.
Okay.
I still had the alcohol from last time. I just so certain bottles I had to refill, right? So we had the food, we had the drink, we had the DJs, right? I was even selling like cigarettes and Lucy cigarettes and Black and Miles. Like you buy a Black and Mile for like a dollar. You just put it in the little jar, right? You know what I mean? Because people running out of cigarettes and Black and Miles and stuff,
Right.
right? So, hey, I'm hustling, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like three Lucy cigarettes for a dollar, right? No, just like some corner store stuff, some hood stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now we getting 300-400 people, right? It's a lot of work, you know what I mean? Because you got to prepare the meat. Because I didn't do no hamburgers or hot dogs. It was steaks. It was like ribs. They were marinated for like 2
Okay.
days
I
before.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a barbecue. It's not a cookout. It's a
Right.
barbecue, right? So we ain't have no hamburgers or hot dogs or none of that. You know what I mean? And if we did have hamburgers, it was not. It was steak burgers basically. Like
Right.
they were pattied up, they were grilled.
Make sure you get that Sir Gerlin, man.
Oh yeah, like so,
Yeah.
like on the ship, I had a dude like you know an actual like dude that was a cook that was really good. So I
Mhm.
was like, yo, do me a favor. He was like, what's that? He showed me where to go to get the meat on the base and all this. I had a keg and all this other stuff. So I paid him. I said, yo, you come out, I give you like $100, $150, you the grill man. He's like, bet, I'm on that.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Cause he, you know what I mean? Like I get to grill up, I get to drink, and I get $100. Yeah, I'm mad, my dude. Right. So he did that. The DJ dude, he started getting people. So I said, yo, I just pay you to come through. He said, cool. So I paid him $100 to come through. He would come through like I start the barbecue at 10 because I know black people always late. So I started the barbecue at
That's
10.
true. Yeah.
They would actually show up at 1. But that was cool. But I would already be at the park at 7 in the morning.
Okay.
So I'm getting everything straight, set up, laid out, whatever. I had the tarps out, all the other stuff. I think the biggest barbecue we had was like maybe $500-600, 500-600 people. I
Mhm.
had the little jumping thing for the kids.
Wow.
DJ out there. I had a dude in the corner with a tent. It was a dude. He was a barber. He was cutting hair like at the barbecue. We had a whole tent. If you want to get your hair cut, go get your hair cut. Then I transitioned. I would do the barbecue because it was more like a summertime fall thing. I would do the barbecue, and then if you went to the barbecue, right, and I would give you this poker chip, right? If you went to the barbecue and you came to the after party at the club, because a lot of people couldn't make it to the barbecues because the barbecues would be on Saturday. Because I did them on Sunday, But then I had to go to work on Monday, or I have to do it around the holiday. So Saturday was better. So they couldn't make it because Japanese people that came through, they worked a 6-day work week. Right?
Okay.
It was when they was off, but they can come to the after party. So what I said is, look, if you get this coin, like this poker chip, you bring it with you, you get a discount for entry into the club, right? So half the people that was at the barbecue was already wasted and twisted because it was all you could drink. So you just walk up with your cup and I make you the drink. I was the bartender guy, right? I make you the drink, right? So half of them would show up, half of them wouldn't. But the people that heard about the barbecue, right, mad that they missed it, would come to the club. Then they would come to my club events and do all of that stuff.
Okay.
Then I realized about club events because you was only getting money off the door. Then I started to notice that, hold on, I need to get some of this bar money, right? So I started doing like stuff like all you could drink at the bar. I would provide the alcohol, top shelf, blah, blah, or we would do drink specials. I would go out, look for liquor sponsors that really wasn't that's at the top. You know what I mean? That's at the bottom, but they want people to start they wanted bars to start purchasing. So they would give me cases of alcohol, right? And I would do special mixer nights. So what I would do is I would go out, I would look at a liquor sponsor. I would actually do research like 2 or 3 months, right? This is a lot of work. My wife, she translates and stuff, and she would go talk because I couldn't speak, right? So we would go down there and we would go to these liquor sponsors, and then they would say, well, we can get you into these clubs over here, right? But they were like, well, how much money did you need? I was like, look, let's do this deal where I can do like you give me 5 cases of your alcohol, right? You come and see the event. If you like what you see from the event, right, then we'll talk about monetary sponsorship with the cases of alcohol. And we'll do like a 6-month to a 1-year deal. Right?
Okay.
So they would give me the cases of alcohol. Some events would hit, some would miss, but they would see the potential in the market. Then I would introduce them to the owner. Then the owner would get a deal for that alcohol, and we would come up with a signature drink for that bar or that club, right? But it would only be done on my nights. Then I would work out with the owner my percentage off the bar with the alcohol because he didn't have to pay for the alcohol because the company was sponsoring and giving it to him. See how that works?
That makes
Right. See, and people don't realize with companies, 80% of the company's expenditures is marketing.
Right? That's true. Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
So I'm getting marketing money that's already out there, right? So that the company's giving me like if you're giving me 5 cases of alcohol, and these are Japanese cases, right? 5 cases of alcohol, you talk about 24 bottles in a case, right? You talk about 24 bottles in a case. They don't have 1 liter bottles in Japan unless you're on the base. Talk about 750 milliliters. 750 milliliters at 35 milliliters will get you about 55 shots of alcohol. 55 shots of alcohol and 55 drinks, right? Because 1 shot of alcohol is 35 milliliters.
Right.
If you still do a rum and Coke, that's 35 milliliters of rum. Everything else is Coke, regardless, right? You can, if you try to make it stronger, you're talking about 45 milliliters. You're talking about 30. You're talking about 38 to 42 shots of alcohol. Think about that. Now you take that bottle, right? Then you talk about $5 out of $5 a drink minimum, right? A $5 drink. Then at the end of the day, that bottle will get you about $150. $150 times 24. That's $2,400. You didn't have to pay for the alcohol.
Okay. And so you do it by sponsoring it. So basically like, oh shoot, we lost them. Oh, just DeAndre, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, yeah, we just back out. Okay, so basically, yeah, man. So you pretty much sponsor them, and you set up that nice, like you said, that nice communication and that relationship, and so they will kind of trust you. Like, okay, I see potential in your business. Let me go ahead and get this alcohol here. And then you say you work with liquor sponsors, and they kind of grew from there, and they give you a certain percentage for marketing their product.
Yeah. So they give
Okay.
you so basically I was getting it on both ends. I was getting the liquor sponsor, I was getting the money off the bar at the club. Everything is good, but you know how business works, right? Everybody
Right.
wants a
Yes.
direct connect. Once you make it, and this is the problem with being a club promoter. Once you make the club pop, the people are not coming because of your event. The people are coming to the place, right? So now the club's popping, right? And this is the mistake that I made. The owner wanted me to do more and more events there. What I should have did was turned them down and start doing events in other avenues and other places, right?
Okay.
So
Is
I
that
can turn my crowd around. And what I did was because, like I said, is I had that westernized mentality of planting my stick, that whole conquering thing, put the stick down. This is my
Yep.
area. And what I didn't do is, and what I was supposed to do is I was supposed to move around and build it up depending on the area. And then what happened is there were other promoters, of course, with business, and they were already in business,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. They started infiltrating on the same place. And this
Okay.
is the hip hop area. This is the hip hop scene and stuff like that, right? They start infiltrating on the same area and stuff like that. And it was like we were fighting over the same customer base, right?
Okay, so that's when that competition got in. See, but then
Yeah,
again, well, because you was in Japan too, so I was thinking too, like,
yeah.
have you thought
It was black
about
promoters. It was all black promoters. They were all black
have you
promoters.
thought about? I wonder if it's feasible, to actually, get a building of your own.
You can, but it's not necessary. And what I mean is not necessary. The one thing in Japan, if you ever go to invest in money, is real estate, because land is very hard to get in Japan. It's very expensive.
Hmm.
Having a building in Japan means absolutely nothing. Like condos, they build on land that they don't purchase. They actually lease the land out for 30 to 50 years to a landowner, and
Hmm.
they build the building. So the building means nothing in Japan. It's the land underneath it.
It's the
So
land. Okay.
yeah, the land costs more than the building. So let's just say you bought a building, and they say the building was $250,000 to $400,000. The land underneath it is going to be $1,000,000. So you got to pay
Oh
that.
wow.
Yeah, exactly. So you just buy the building, but you don't own the land, so you still got to pay the rent to the landowner. So you basically, unless you know what I mean, so you can basically run like because I being a promoter, I can run everything pretty much out of my house, or I would just get an office space, like a straight up office space.
Hmm.
Like, even the club owners, they do not own the building. They just rent the space. They own the club, but they don't own the building.
Right, and
Yeah.
they make all that money through, because I know you was charging people at the door, right? Like
I
10
was
now.
charging people at the door.
Okay.
They're making because I'm charging people at the door. So what you do is you got two options. You either rent the club out, which is the option you never do, right? Or
Right.
you work a deal with the club where y'all split the door money, right?
Okay.
Now, and then if you get over a certain percentage, the problem with this is clubs are shady. They'll be messing with your customer numbers. They'll be doing all types of stupid stuff and whatever, right? And so you're like, how what they say is in the entertainment industry, your first deal is the shitty deal. It's always going to be the shitty deal, right? So what's her name? Meg Thee Stallion was bitching about her contract.
Yeah, D Stallion, and yeah, it was some other too. It was the other
Yeah,
artist. She
they
was
was
like,
bitching, yeah, they
yeah,
was bitching about they stat. Yeah,
yeah, she was. I think I made a video about that. She was complaining about how, she got a crappy deal. She sold her soul to the devil for like $50,000. But what she failed to realize too is like, I mean, that's really not her money. And a lot of artists too, they don't read their contracts.
well,
They
here's
so
the thing.
yeah.
Here's the thing, right? All right, here's the thing, right? She sold her soul for $50,000. Here's the thing: you were a stripper, right?
Mm,
She could have stripped at Magic City on premiere night for 6 months, and she wasn't making $50,000, right?
mm.
She didn't get $50,000. She got a $50,000 signing bonus, plus she gets paid. The issue is she signed to a 360 deal. So artists are no longer making money off of selling albums, right? That era of selling albums went out the door with 50 Cent. Right?
Isn't it because I'm just gonna make this clear? Isn't it because like distribution? I know not to me, record labels are really investing in that because now you they can make money through this stuff.
Do digital,
It's
right?
not too many people at stores and buying physical
Well,
copies. Yeah.
well, no, nobody's buying anything, period. Really, right? So let me give you a perfect example, right? Streaming has destroyed the music industry, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we're on YouTube, right? We're on YouTube, whatever, right?
Right.
You can go whenever you feel like it and type in a song, right? And it'll pop up on YouTube and play, right?
That's true.
Now,
Yes.
if you want the next, and then you can add it to a playlist. Now, if you want to actually make sure there's no ads or interruptions, you pay for YouTube Premium, right? Or the music
True.
portion of YouTube.
Or
Remember, it
like
was
Apple Music,
Apple Music, right? So you're playing a
iTunes.
streaming service. So how does the artist get paid? Because now you're on the radio, you're paying for internet radio. So the artist that gets played the most, right? They'll get a bigger percentage. So they're competing, right? Instead of you going out, the consumer purchasing the music and having it in your house. Now, what happens is, how is the music industry going to actually make money? This is a business. So artists would make all of their money on tour. That's why you would have an
True.
artist have a hit album,
And
and
go
they
on.
won't make another album for another 5 years because they've been on tour for the last 3.5, right? Because all that tour money belongs to them. Now you see artists churning out albums every year. Why? Because the record label is using the album as a promotional thing because you're not there for the music. You're there to see the artist, their personality. You're pushing personality versus talent, right? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So if you're pushing personality versus talent, right, then now you got an issue. Now, who makes the most money? The person that made the music. The person that's singing doesn't make that much money unless they wrote their own songs and they
That's so true. Yeah, because you got to pay what, especially someone got ghostwriters. You got to pay them. You got to pay the studio time, all
well,
that stuff.
well,
Yeah.
this is the thing where they keep saying ghostwriters, right?
Mm.
Okay. They keep saying ghostwriters. And the term ghostwriters is used as a term in the hip hop as disparaging. In any other form of music, it's called writers, right?
Mm.
Like, see, perfect example, right? Neo, right? People don't know Neo wrote 2 of Rihanna's albums, 3 of Beyonce's Grammy Award winning albums.
That's
Um, he wrote some of Trey Songz stuff. Neo wrote a lot of people's albums, Curry Hilson stuff, a lot of stuff. The only reason why Neo is known as an artist because the record label made him do it. He never wanted to do it. Right? He wanted to be in the background. Like The Weeknd is a songwriter, right?
oh yeah,
He,
yeah.
yeah, he's a songwriter. Oh, it's Classic Ruby. Hey, Rubes.
Yeah, what's up, Classy Ruby? How you doing?
So,
Yeah, maybe go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, so like, but about the music industry, this is why
Mhm.
Meg, basically, she's a rapper, right? Like,
Right.
okay, people don't know Meg The Stallion is known, right? Young Ma is known, but Young
Mhm.
Ma gets paid more because Young Ma is totally independent because Young Ma writes and makes her own music.
See, this is why, like, like artists like Big Crit, Tech Nine, even though to like Tech Nine like 12 some years to really get his stuff off the ground, but he's independent and
Yeah,
he pretty much can go anywhere he wants and without a third party telling him, okay, how to spend your money, this is what you should do with your money, what to do, where to stay. I mean, another artist like I don't know, Lupe Fiasco is a
well, he's you Lupe. Nah, Lupe is how should I say it?
he didn't drop anything lately though, but
No, he can't. He can't. He's been blackballed.
um
Yeah, Lupe can't. He can't drop anything. He could do a whole bunch of mixtapes because of his first. He never finished his first contract. Just like
okay.
the thing with Lil Wayne and Baby was going at it. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, and what people don't really know, when 50 you talk about a lot of stuff, right? But
Yeah.
50, when that went down, 50 told everybody to shut their mouth and stay out of it
Mm-hmm.
because 50 knew because 50's G Unit or whatever is under Universal. He knows what's going down with Universal, right? it wasn't Lil Wayne. It wasn't Baby. Baby couldn't give Lil Wayne the money. He couldn't do that because everything was wrapped up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like it was wrapped up for that. You know what I mean? It was because Cash Money, Young Money, right? Young Money was Lil Wayne's thing, right?
Yes, it was.
Cash Money was Baby's thing, right? So you got two record labels, but they're under Universal Music Group for distribution, right? So basically, the distributor is Universal. So that's all the connections to get everything popping, right? The day-to-day operations, all of that other stuff is pretty much Cash Money. Then Young Money is a subsidiary under Cash Money, right? So what you're looking at is legalized what do you call it? Legalized embezzlement of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Cash Money and Young Money can lose all the money that they want, and Universal Music Group will write it off as a tax break, but they'll go under, right?
Okay.
If Cash Money, Young Money starts making money, Universal Music Group takes the lion's share because they hold the distribution rights, right? Right. So let me give you a perfect example, right? Okay. Apple makes the iPhone, right?
Right.
They do the R&D, they make the iPhone. Apple then gets the iPhone, they'll get the batteries from Taiwan, the microchips from Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get the screens from Korea, Samsung, because an iPhone has a Samsung Galaxy screen. People don't know that, right? Then they're all assembled in China. Then they're shipped to the US for distribution, right? Apple is a multi-billion, almost trillion-dollar company, right?
Yes.
Now, you would understand that because the originator of the content or the product is supposed to make more than the distributors of the parts, right? Right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think it was weird if the assembly plant in China was a multi-trillion-dollar company and Apple was only $1 million company?
That would have been. That's
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. That is kind of weird.
That's kind of weird. But this works in the music industry all the time.
So
All the time.
it kind of confirms everything. I remember when Nino Brown, he was saying it's not all about talent anymore. It's about business. Like if when it comes to music, you know,
Yeah. It's
because
about business.
because it's totally different. Like NFL, NBA type stuff. We got to actually have
Okay.
talent to make something. Yeah, because
Well,
I be thinking like you got some artists. Because like me, I listen to lyrical type people and stuff like that. People I can relate to, but it's like I'm like, it'd be amazing, like people that doesn't have talent whatsoever. Like this mumble rap is very popular, but
yeah.
they get the most shine, compared to someone that's saying something with substance.
Well, well, I'm gonna tell you like this. The reason why it gets the most shine because it's a flash in the pan, right? And what I mean is like this. When we are in a peacetime, right? Like, okay, let me put it to you like this. All right. So if remember Kanye's first 3 albums, right?
Yes.
Okay. Kanye's first 3 albums, like he came out with the Jesus Walk thing, right? That was during
Let's drop. Yeah.
that was during like the Jesus Walk thing came out, right? What was that? It was like
03, 04, he was doing.
okay, 0304, right? So
Yeah.
0304, that was right after 9/11. That was right after the thing. The nation started to calm down a little bit. It was the war on terrorism, but it really wasn't affecting anybody in the US no more, right? Gas prices was up, but it was like, all right, whatever. People was dealing with it, right? Okay. So
Just Andre, sorry, hold that thought real quick. I think somebody do. I'll be right back.
no problem.
Be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry
Yeah.
about that, brother. So,
Yeah. So so if you like, damn, what was it? So if you look at it, far as like music, it talks about the differences of things, right? So
mhm,
when you're at war or something like that, um, they're talking about peace, right? When you're at peace, they're talking about war and consciousness and all this other stuff,
right.
right? You got to think about it. Economically, America's been beat down into the ground, right? People, unemployment, student loans, things. The economy is ridiculous, right? Everything is inflated out the butt, right? So what you gonna put in front of people to calm them down? Get this bottle, chase this bag.
Some more of. So,
Yeah,
okay, so this is more like a decoy, like a distraction in a
it
way.
is. It's a
Okay,
distraction. It's a
to put them,
distraction.
put them. Okay, so to shift their focus to something else.
Yeah,
Um. Okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
and
I think it's up to people's too individual preference too, as well, as far as the
yeah,
music. I mean, but
I'm
yeah,
like,
that's,
but you do have a balance, right? Like
yeah.
okay, they got all these mumble rappers out here, but then you got J. Cole,
Kendrick Lamar.
you got Kendrick Lamar, man. Like I'm like, you got the baby. Like if you actually listen to the baby, like actually listening to him, because he
They be
just
clowning him a lot though.
they clown him, but if you actually break down what he's saying, like it's ridiculous, right? Like if you listen to the new Meek, right? Meek Mills, new
Mhm.
Meek, right? If you listen to new Meek, if you listen to Jay's always going to be consistent and stuff in certain avenues and certain things, but and if you really want that consciousness, like go listen to Black Thought and the Roots, like what
Oh
he,
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
but
Black.
if you
Yeah.
but if you notice this younger generation, they're listening to the older rap stuff, and they're actually going retro. If you listen to the beats, if you listen to it, like what I'm saying, it's just hip hop. Like hip hop has turned into a $1 billion business. So in that $1 billion business, you got to cross over. So how you crossing over? It's more poppy than hip hop, right? Is like hip hop has turned more into pop music, crossover music, right? You see more rappers doing like Nicki Minaj's first whole album was an EDM album.
What was that one? It was that
The
one album.
Partners and whatever. That was
Yeah.
that whole album, that Pink.
Oh, the Pink. That came out way back then, right? 2010,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, but that's when
Yeah.
she popped off, right? But if you
Yeah.
look for a whole album, right, that's a EDM-ish popish album.
Hmm.
People don't realize Nicki Minaj is a DJ. She is a DJ, and she was on the EDM circuit.
That was like one of the best to me personally. That was probably one of the best albums out there. I was like, man, like
Yeah,
listen to that. I
yeah,
remember listening to that when I was in high school. I was like, okay, yeah, but
yeah. I mean, if you think
yeah,
about it, right?
yeah.
Like who pushed EDM to be like, people don't even know this. EDM's been around, right, since like electronic music, house music, trance music, and all that's been around for a long time, since I would say since the 60s, right?
All right.
But guess what? It was only for the LGBT community.
Oh, I see what
People
you're
don't
talking
know
about.
that,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Soul Sonic Force, African Boombada, that whole beat is actually Kraftwerk, a German group, a trance group. If you actually go listen to Soul Sonic Force, then you go listen to Kraftwerk. That beat was made 5 years prior to Soul Sonic Force, was probably one of the most instrumental hip hop tracks that ever came out after the disco era. They
Hmm.
took that beat directly from them German dudes. No one remembers Kraftwerk unless you really into music like that. But that's what it is, right? If you think of Run DMC, right? Run DMC is in the Rock Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, I was wondering. I'm like, is he known as a rapper? But
Nope,
what was that
no,
one? Yeah.
nope. Run DMC, Rock Hall of Fame. What did they say? I am the king. We're the kings of rock.
Right.
The kings
Yeah.
of higher, right? They they were trying to be in rock music, right? Think about all the crossover music with Aerosmith, Walk This Way. Listen to the beats, the break beats, right? Break beats are beats that you take from rock music and you break them down and speed them up to a BPM, pushing the bass, and you rap
Right.
over top of them.
Right.
People don't know that's the origins of rap music, right? That's what rap is. It's off of break beats. You break the beat down, that's rock music. You break it down, you take the percussion parts of the rock music and you double up the bass on it and you punch it and then you remix certain stuff.
That makes sense because I was listening to that Run song, Run DMC Rock Box. I was like, man, that sound like all the guitars and stuff in it. I'm like, I was like, whoa, like, you know,
I'm like, look at how everybody dressed back then and there, right? Like in the day, right? So rap music came from that, from rock, right? If you looking at R&B, right? Like name an R&B artist right now, a new R&B artist right now,
a new R&B artist.
Name him.
Ain't none. Yeah, they don't even make R&B music like that though, man.
You know why? Because R&B is a hybrid off of blues.
I was like, I would say The Weeknd, but
no, that's not R&B.
Yeah, that's more like pop though. Yeah, it's really not.
No, that's not R&B. The Weeknd's music is actually considered pop. It's not R&B, right? So it's in the pop section. So let me give you a perfect example, right? Michael Jackson is the king of pop, right?
Yes.
Okay, Michael Jackson is king of pop. Take Michael Jackson's discography. Go look at, and you know that's all his albums. For people who didn't know what I just said, but all his albums, right? Yeah. And then you take the Weeknd's albums, right? All of his albums and his songs, right? Listen to his songs. Listen to Michael Jackson's songs, and you'll see the similarities between the songs. You know what I mean? Of Michael Jackson's whole career culminate, right? You got to think about it. Michael Jackson went solo. It was right. It was you know what I'm saying? Like you know what I mean? Like the Off the Wall album, right?
Now that album, yes.
But it was after the disco, it was at the end of the disco era. Now think about it before. Michael Jackson with the Motown sound with the Jackson 5, they always did that rhythm part, right? The blues part, right? So R&B is called rhythm and blues, right? So blues is too slow. So you speed it up a little bit,
right?
Slow it down. You give it like listen, like Marvin Gaye, right? Marvin Gaye is the godfather of R&B. Marvin Gaye should be considered the king of R&B. Straight off, right?
Listen, I agree.
Right. So why don't you do that? Because anybody can get an R&B. People don't know black people started rock music. Right?
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Little Richard, all of them, they started rock music. The person that gets the king of rock is Elvis. The ones that took rock into the stratosphere is the Beatles. Right? Right? So they made it world renowned. Why did they make it world renowned? Because they were some British dudes that did it, right? And then who took it after that? Then you got to look at most of the bands that took over rock music were actually out of England, right? So you talking about Queen and
Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody. You're talking about Elton John. You're talking about all of that, right? Then you get different types of rock, right? Then you got Kiss and stuff, right? But then you talk about heavy metal, right? So rock has you got like soft rock, you got classic rock, you got heavy metal, all this other crazy stuff, right? And then you get rap, and rap is pretty much rock music. If you think about rap is rock music, but then you got what? You got conscious rap, you got gangster rap, you got hip hop. And hip hop is a genre of music, but it's a culture basically, right? Because you got to put the beboppers, the breakers, the break dancers.
I want to. Well, I just want to say too, because I think the transition of hip hop, that's my knowledge, because it was on some conscious level. You know, you had DJ Kool Herc on that time, Grandmaster Flash, and all that stuff.
The Message,
right.
LL
Cool J, Tribe Called Quest. I mean, you had these people that was in the 90s. I know in the 80s, NWA.
NWA. But NWA, they're the godfathers of gangster rap.
Exactly.
Right. They gangster rap. Then you got Uncle Luke.
Oh yeah, Uncle Luke. Yeah.
But you got to think about it. Uncle Luke with that Miami bounce, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Uncle Luke is the is the godfather of stripper culture. Like if you really think about it, Uncle Luke is the godfather of stripper culture. Freaknik started off of Uncle Luke, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you go back and listen to Uncle Luke's songs, 2 Live Crew, it's nothing but booty shaking. That's all it is, right? It's booty shaking. It's not. It's all that. Twerking was a word. Like it was. You know, if you think about it like this, right? I was born in 81. So, or let's just say someone that was born in 1980 will be 39 years of age. Well, no, well, they will be 40 years of age this year, right? Right. So think about it. When I was growing up, I was about 10, like 8 to 10 years of age, doing what Uncle Luke was at his that I recognize that Uncle Luke was at his hiatus. So you got to think about it. Somebody that's 10 years older than me that will be a teenager in that time frame, they're 50 years of age. So you're walking around looking at somebody, one of your aunties that was 50 years of age now, that was in a teenagers, or they was an adult that's 60 years of age that might have been on the stage down at Spelman shaking a butt for money.
Yeah.
Right? Think about that real quickly. And think about how Uncle Luke changed the whole culture. Then when you go look at the stripper culture, right? How in strip clubs, how do they break new songs? All of those, if you listen to all these mumble rap songs, they're made for strip clubs.
Yeah, they're made for turning up strip clubs.
Strip clubs and throwing money, right?
Throwing the money, yeah. See, right? But this is the beauty thing about hip hop. It has a lot of different elements in it. You know, like I know, for example, like I know dance has been in since the 60s, but I remember in the early 2000s. You know, I mean, I can fair to say like Soulja Boy, he kind of like really made it popular with all the dances in like in 04, 05. Everybody was doing crank that stuff, and it kind of put the clubs on the map back again. I think personally, and then that's when it had the Stanky. It had a whole bunch of stuff. It was like in 2005, 6, 7, 8. I mean, it was dances like every single year. It's like every other month. It felt like it was another dance coming out.
Yeah, it was. Because it was the newer. It was the newer generation. Like you got to understand, like music and entertainment is a young man's game, right? So let's if we shift this over right to technology, right? Computers, right?
Yeah.
All right. So when I grew up, there was a Macintosh, right? Apple computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gave it to the schools, right? And it was a great computer, right? We used to sit up there. We used to go early, be in the computer lab, playing on the paint thing. And then when I got to middle school, you didn't see no Apple computers, right? This was in the early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? Apple fell, right? Steve Jobs got booted out of Apple. All of a sudden, you see all these Windows computers in these schools and in these colleges. You know why? Because Steve Jobs went to IBM, and him and Bill Gates was working together. And then he made Windows. Yeah, people don't know that. Bill Gates his own company. Steve Jobs is there with him. And then when Windows 95 comes out, Steve Jobs gets booted out of Microsoft. Right? Steve Jobs make Apple, and he goes Bill Gates, and they was in IBM, and then they make Microsoft from that program and built Microsoft, and he gets booted out of Microsoft, right? But he doesn't get booted out of Microsoft like he got booted out of Apple. He gets booted out of Microsoft not because him and Bill Gates was this, that, and the third. Is that Bill Gates gave Steve Jobs the shares to sell off so he could go take back his old company back.
Okay, so he basically was working on temporary so he can go ahead and
bring
himself back up. Okay. I didn't know there was Apple computers in the 90s. Okay.
Yeah, right. So guess what happens? The Apple comes out with a new launch, right?
Yeah.
Remember those iMacs, the greens, the purples? They was all in one. They looked like little old school televisions. Okay, they was in every college dorm room. The old school MacBook. The MacBook, it looked like a suitcase. They were different colors and stuff. So that came about the 2000s, like the late 90s, 2000s, right? The next thing you know, there's an Apple computer in every classroom across America, in every classroom in Europe and stuff. And guess what happens now? Now people will spend arm and a leg for a Mac,
Yes.
right? Now you got then you had the iPod came out The iPod came out in 2004.
3. I'm gonna say
2003.
because people was rocking it. And I
Yeah.
think it was 03. Because
Yeah.
I remember we used to. It was to be sweet because I used to have one, and you have to download music and.
I had the 10 gigabyte. I had the first one. I had the 10
Yeah.
gigabyte with the 4 buttons on it, and then
Yeah,
you had
I had the one. I think the one, if you were fancy, the circle one, you use your finger, use your thumb. Yeah,
you use the thumb one. The 10 gig. It was like a brick, but it had the I call it the Mario Brothers Game Boy screen.
Yeah.
Right? So and then the iPods grew from there, right? You had right. Then the iPhone came out, right? That changed the whole game because the BlackBerry was kicking butt and taking names, right?
Yeah, it was.
But the iPhone came out, right? And that set Apple on its trajectory of ridiculousness. Now, if you was to buy a PC now, and if you just want to throw your money in the toilet, you just buy a PC, right? Or what you would call a Windows computer, right? But if you want a game, you better build your PC, right? You got to build it, right? But with an Apple, you can't really game. But if you talk about doing anything entertainment-wise, musically, design-wise, you're talking about movies, editing videos, doing whatever, or you just want to do work and not have your computer crash on you, you better get you a Mac.
That's what they said. Yeah, and that's why they were so expensive. That's why because they marketed that correctly, man. Because I had a MacBook. Yeah, it does last long. Seriously, you take care of it.
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
But how did that happen? It's the business model of you promote.
Mm-hmm.
You promote to the young, so they'll be your future consumers, right? And a lot of times businesses mess up because they promote to the adults and not the kids or the teens or the young adults.
So this is probably one of the primary reasons why you believe like this what the music industry does. I mean, because because people used to complain, be like, man, dang, man, they be playing this trash music on the radio, man. I'm like, yeah, but
you ain't. Well, think about it like this: you got a job, right?
Right.
You're at work. You're not supposed to be listening to the radio all day.
True.
Who would be able to listen to the radio all day? A child.
You're right.
Right? A child, right? And you got to think, you got to think about it like this, right? Okay. Artists go on tour between spring and fall, right? Between spring and fall, right? They make their music in that time, like mid to late fall, all the way up, right? They start to drop like singles and stuff, right? In early spring, right? Before spring break. Music videos come out left and right, right? Then they go on a tour, a press tour. So they'll be on Hot 97, they'll be on the Breakfast Club, they'll be Sway in the Morning. Yeah, they'll be everywhere, right? They'll be playing that music video. And then for you to actually get the music yourself, if you want it, they'll drop the album either in the summer or they'll drop the album in the fall. And the process repeats itself. There's a reason why they do this. The reason is because their consumers are children, right? So my son is 24 years of age, my oldest son, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he was young, Justin Bieber was the dude. Justin Bieber, Chris Brown, and all of that, right? So Justin Bieber, Chris Brown, you talking about who else? You can throw Trey Songz in there. You can throw Neo in there.
Drake's still up there.
Drake. You can even throw Lloyd in there for a little bit, right? Yeah. Right. So you can throw these people in there and whatever, right? Now that he's 24 years of age and he was a teenager, and remember Justin Bieber started when he was like a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you look at that, you look at Selena Gomez, you look at all of these because she came off the Disney Channel and all this other stuff. Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana and all that other stuff. She started as a child and worked her way up. now she's growing with her fans, right?
Right.
Now the younger generation is going to look at her still because they remember growing up on her, but they remember their sisters and brothers and stuff listening to this music,
Okay.
right?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? Okay, like you like conscious hip hop, right? Do you got any brothers, sisters? You probably got some cousins if you don't got any of those, right? So if you got those, you're going to listen to the music that they listen to by proxy because you were exposed to it and you see how they felt about it at the times. Then you're just going to mimic that until you come into your own.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that you really like this music, or is it that that's all you had to listen to? Because that's all you had access to because it was only socially acceptable.
Well, you asked me if it's
Yeah,
as far as conscious. Well, it's a little bit different. I mean, I kind of just want something substance. I mean, I listen to all kinds of music now, but it's just really I guess it's necessarily. I guess I wasn't exposed to it. It's just I want something. I don't know. So it was just something relatable to me. I guess based on how I grew up, man. I mean,
how you grew up, right? So
Yeah.
it's your environment, right? So you
Yeah.
understand it. So let me give you this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you grew up in your environment, the people that look like you, the people
Right.
that's talking like you,
Mm-hmm.
and the music that you heard, and the sounds of the city and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you're going to listen to hip hop music, right?
True.
What type of music do you listen to that when you got older, and let's say you don't live in that area or you was exposed to different cultures, that you would like to listen to? Like that you heard for the first time, that no one else that looked like you exposed you to it, right? Or it was not normal for someone in your culture to listen to, that you like to listen to.
It's making me like I can say probably mainly like the what conscious, or it could be. I don't know. It's really hard to explain though. Like I made a transition to it, but I get what you're saying though.
So I give you an example, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm from Baltimore, right? So you listen to hip hop music. But another thing about it is we are on house music hard. We remix anything, right? Listen to it, right? We put that beat with it and we go with it, right? Right? Now, for me to be in the EDM, it wasn't hard. You see what I'm saying? Because it was no different. It was just certain elements was missing because we put hip hop music with it, right?
Okay.
Things of the culture with our stuff, right? That we sped it up and we danced really weird and all this other stuff. But the first time I heard Counting Crows on MTV, for some reason, I liked it. Right? For some reason, I couldn't tell you why. I liked listening to that song, Mr. Jones, right? With Counting Crows, right? Like my uncle make me listen to Queen, right? And I liked it, right? I liked it.
You know what? I think too.
Like,
yeah, I used to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was about to say because when I was with my dad and stuff, we used to drive around and stuff. And he used to put on like Eric B and Rakim, Slick Rick and all of them. I was like, oh shoot, we used to like Wu-Tang Clan. And this when I was young, I was like, okay. And that's when I was like, oh shoot. And I got older. I was like, okay, let me listen to something more. That's like kind of my age, but kind of speak of some truth, that type of stuff though. But that's So I get what you're saying on that point. I'll try to reminisce that.
Now, I'm gonna tell you now now why did I like Counting Crows? I told you the same thing. My uncle listens to hip hop. My uncle, he'll listen to hip hop music. He let us listen to hip hop music. But my uncle, being a black man, right? He was a nerd, right? He was a nerd. He was a straight up nerd, but he was, like they call him the lame, the educated lame. But he was a nerd. He was an architect he's the architect for the city of Baltimore, right?
Okay.
Now, when I would go down in the basement, right? The first anime that I saw in my life that I knew that was anime because he told me
Mm-hmm.
was Fist of the North Star, right?
Okay.
Saw it, right? And it blew my mind because this is the first time I saw a cartoon character kill another cartoon character, and they wasn't coming back in the next episode, right? You know, the person was dead, right? So if anybody knows what Fist of the North Star is, go look it up, watch it or whatever. You'll see what I'm saying. Now I'm a 8-year-old, right? And
Wow.
my cousin, his son was, my cousin, my uncle's son was kind of scared, right? Because he would turn away, but I'm watching it. And I looked at my uncle and my eyes lit up, right? And then we're watching Akira after that, right? And I loved it, right? So I loved the animation. Then when I got older, I realized, oh, Thundercats, Silverhawks, Transformers, all of that is Japanese anime. That whole 80s where I grew up, where all that animation was made by Japanese folk,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I learned later, like Macross or you know what I'm saying, or we call it Robotech, right? Now, moving forward, my uncle was into comic books, right? Really into comic books. Like I remember reading the first Spawn comic in my hand, like issue number 1. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I remember reading comic books and being into that stuff. He exposed it to me, right? I remember listening to Richard Pryor and Friends on an 8-track in the basement in my uncle's house because he still had it. He still had the 8-tracks from the 60s and the 70s when he grew up, right? But he had records, he had tape sets, he had cassettes, he had CDs, he had oldies, he had the Temptations, Smokey Robinson. I remember Christmas time, my aunt, they used to be playing all the Christmas songs, but it was Smokey Robinson and this. And then he introduced me to rock music like Kiss and Metallica and all this other stuff. So he was a savant of music. He would play classical music. He would play that old like 1940s doo-wop stuff,
Yeah.
right? He would, on the AM
I used
station.
to listen to it. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what I mean?
Instrumentals.
And he would tell me, even though we were segregated as a nation, music was music. There
Oh, yeah.
wasn't all these different genres. It was just music, right?
Well, it's a collective way for people to actually come together, regardless of you
Yeah.
know, where you're from and everything. Because like when I was in school, I used to play instrument and everything. So I was in classical music. I played the string bass and stuff like that, and I actually enjoyed it. I mean, I really never grew up listening to it, but me playing the music, I actually gained a greater respect for it. So like, because I listened to a variety of it, and jazz too. I was in jazz as well. I played the bass guitar, and that was fun. We was playing Proud Mary. We was playing all kinds of stuff, and I was like, oh shoot, like. And I started looking up more jazz music, and so it's just amazing though, like the different elements that you're in, that you're from, and how if you're exposed to it in your environment, it does shape what type of music you're gonna listen to, as far as like hip hop, because it has all those different elements there. Like it's amazing though. Like me, I just like real good beats because I still be like discovering stuff like old beats, like Jay Dilla type beats and stuff like that, man. Looking up like old groups, rap groups like the Wu-Tang Clan, all that stuff, man. How they were very influential at that time. Like you said, Outkast. You know, it's
And it's it's crazy because when you say old groups like the Wu-Tang Clan, I'm like, damn, man, like, but then I realized, like, okay, shit, I'm gonna be 39. So
I was born in '93, so I was just like, they was.
I'm like, because like, but I was like.
I listened to 36 Chambers, man. I was just like, man, this is good.
Hold on. So because you was born in '93, so I was like, I was in middle school, and that's when Bone Thugs and Harmony came out.
Oh, Bone Thugs, yeah.
So that's when Bone Thugs and Harmony came out.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually respect the Eazy-E though too. I was listening to some of his stuff. He has some hits,
Yeah, that's when like Bone came out. That's when that East Coast West Coast beef actually popped off in hip hop.
Yeah.
That's when right after that, that's when that next year, that's when Biggie and Tupac was beat.
Yeah.
Hard body. Tupac got shot in New York. That's when I think New Jack City came out in 89, 90.
Yeah.
I think what's the other thing? Tupac was in that Juice. He was in that movie Juice around that time. He was in that movie Juice.
Was he
And
appointed justice?
yeah, and people don't even know the real reason why Tupac was beefing with Biggie. He was never beefing with Biggie. They loved each other, right? Tupac was beefing with Puffy because Puffy wanted the role of being Juice, and he didn't get it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Tupac was doing
Yeah.
everything though. He was acting it.
But here's the problem though, right? Is
Yeah.
that people don't know is Puffy put Tupac on because Tupac and Puffy used to be background dancers for Digital Underground, Humpty Hump.
Humpty. Okay. Yeah. That's
Right?
yeah, that's what Tupac started off from, right?
Yeah, but it was Diddy that put him on. Now people don't know. People like, yo, Tupac was a gangster. No, the nigga wasn't a gangster. He went to the Baltimore School of the Arts.
Magnus.
He was a poet. He
Yeah.
was a what is it called?
He was a
dancer.
great writer too. Yeah, because that's when he developed that relationship with Jada Pinkett. You know,
well, he developed the relationship with Jada Pinkett because Tupac used to get his ass beat, and she used to fucking stand up for him. Yeah, because she went to the School of the Arts too, but she went for dance and she went for poetry, but he went to the School of the Arts for poetry, dance, and also a ballet, right? So people don't know that, and he used to get bullied by the dudes that went to the School of the Arts, by the white dudes that was in there, and because he was on a scholarship, he couldn't fight because he couldn't afford to go. And it was like, what people don't know, the Baltimore School of the Arts is pretty much like the Juilliard School of Music. You got to come from an influential place, and if you was to get in there, you didn't have the money. Your talent had to be immense, and they would give like certain scholarships, special scholarships to people that were from the inner city or something like that. But you would come from all over the country, so it wasn't just in Baltimore, the East Coast. It's all over the country to go to that school. And if you was a minority, like or broke or whatever, that's what would happen. And he couldn't fight back himself. So Jada could go smack somebody up. Plus, these dudes were a part of the LGBTQ community because they were the school was located in that neighborhood in Baltimore. So, and most of them, and there's nothing but Jewish people and those people down there. And, back in the day, you couldn't touch them anyway. So he would have been labeled a homophobe, a thug, or whatever. They would have kicked him out. So, so it's a lot of, like I said, it's a lot of stuff behind that with the Pac and the Biggie thing that people don't understand, but he was a savant. But like you said, like Wu-Tang Clan, I remember, you know what I mean, because they were like 20 years old, when I was listening to them. So
Redman, Method Man, RZA, Jizza. They still making. Well, some of them still making some music too individually too.
They always do music.
ODB, rest in peace. He was good.
Yeah, Dirty. Yo, people don't realize how much of a genius he was.
Oh my god, I listened to his interviews, man. I think he got in trouble for some. I think something about the Grammys. He said something about it, But
he said that he went up there. He said, "We don't bought these tuxedos. We supposed to be no, but he listen. You know when everybody was messing with Kanye?
When you said
the Taylor Swift thing? The Taylor Swift thing?
Oh, yeah, I thought was the George Bush one when he said George Bush don't like black people.
No, but George Bush don't like black people. But but the Taylor Swift thing when he went up there and said Beyonce should have won. Yeah, Beyonce should have won Female Artist of the Year.
We know that, but we was like, man, that is so damn rude.
But why do you think it was rude when he just spoke the truth? Because the only reason why did Taylor Swift win anything after that?
No.
All right then. Did that prove the point?
Because Beyonce we know that. Yeah. But
no. It's just that people just got fatigue, right? Yeah. It's called ear fatigue, but they were trying to push Taylor Swift as a new narrative because they needed somebody to combat Beyonce, right? Every I'm gonna put it to you like this. Every in the music industry, every time they have this entity that has to come back. And if you look in the entertainment, this is why we're known. Black Americans are known in the entertainment industry. Sports is entertainment, right? So
Yeah.
music, sports is entertainment. We're only known as that, right? Because that is the best qualities that they're pushing out in the world for us because of that, right? And but then they try to compete with us on that level, and a lot of times they can't, right?
Oh no,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and you know, and that's just one of those things, right?
Hmm.
Like I give you a perfect example. The first time I heard Adele, right? I heard her on like on a radio station, right? Like
Hmm.
I was at the office and I was listening to satellite radio, right? And I heard her. I heard her songs. I was like, man,
Yeah.
like I heard her and I was like, oh man, I knew that she was like she was white, but the strength of her voice was like you don't really get that with a
Yes.
lot of, you know what I mean? You'll get a Celine Dion or somebody like that, but you don't really get that strength. And it was that southern, like, oh, right? And then I found out she was British. I was like, whoa, where that came from, right? But then I realized, then I saw the guy that was playing the piano, and I realized that was her producer, and it made sense,
Okay.
right? It made sense, right? Like, you know how everybody was getting on what's his name? Bruno Mars,
Yes.
right? Everybody was getting on Bruno Mars, talking about he's stealing black people music and whatever, and they did not even paying attention that Trinidad James wrote half of his damn album.
See, and this the things I didn't even know. I didn't know Trinidad James wrote how
That,
because Trinidad
that Uptown Funk, like
that
remember
is crazy.
remember he did that Uptown Funk
Yes.
song, and remember he did that other song. He did that the other song where
You
it's
talking
that
about
Out of Heaven song.
have yeah, so
Yeah,
Trinidad
right.
James wrote that?
Yes, he wrote half of his stuff. He wrote half
Wow.
of his album, right? And then they was like, "Oh, he's racial appropriating stuff." I said, "Dude, when Bruno Mars first came out, he changed how he was singing."
See, this make me want to go into like, the writer, the writing. See, writing is a beautiful thing too, man, because Trinidad James probably didn't really say, "Hey, I wrote half of the song," so
He's
like
not
people
going to
know,
do that.
but
He's
he
not.
knows, but he's getting that. But I'm pretty sure he's getting a large percentage. If Bruno Mars
Okay,
is successful, he's successful. You know.
okay. Let me put it to you like this. Let me put it to you like this. Let me put it to you like this. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
3 points. Right? When you sign a contract with a producer, you make it big. You got to sign 3 points. The producer makes the beat. Right? If you know how they say, "Yo, I'm gonna drop a 16." Right?
Yeah.
You're only dropping 16 verses, but guess what you're going to hear throughout the whole majority of the song is the beat. Right?
Right.
You're going to hear the beat. So
Right.
3 points. So 3 points means that the producer is going to get 75% of the royalties that come off of that song.
So when you hear a song, okay, so I'm trying to break this down. So when you hear, because there's many songs like that. When you hear a song that's like, okay, the rapper rap for like a while, for like maybe a minute, and then next thing you know, like the beat is still going on for like another 2 minutes.
Mhm.
So they did that strategically. That was the reason, like
Because the rapper, think about it like this.
yeah,
Even a person, right? Like a rapper can only rap for so many times, and then there's a chorus, right?
right.
Right? Okay. A song, a person that sings, right?
Hmm.
They can only hold a note for so long before they got to breathe, right?
Right.
Right? But the instruments can keep playing,
That's
right?
true.
Why
Yeah.
do you think? Why do you think when you watch any person that sings and performs live, they got background singers? The background singers are the fillers.
Yes.
They're to fill in, right? So when you listen to an album and you hear an artist they're singing and then you hear their vocals on the background, they're in a recording studio, right? So they got to do separate takes for that. You can't do that live on stage. You can't sing strong, right?
Oh no.
And then sing the chorus strong and then sing the background feeling strong.
No.
And your voice will not be fatigued by time you over with the concert, right?
Yeah, especially
So
if you performing like, many times, for the past month, the same song on tour.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, right.
yeah.
So and then you got to think about it. When they go on tour, they're doing a show. They're doing like 2 to 3 shows no, 4 shows in a week, right? If you're in Vegas, they're doing 2 shows in a night,
Hmm.
right? So you think about it like that, it's not possible. The producer makes the most money. Give you a perfect example, right? Give you a perfect example. Did you know that Kanye never wanted to be a rapper?
Yeah, he was a producer. I know
He's
that
a producer,
started
right? So
yeah,
people could rap on his beats because the way that they were structured more like a song than an actual break beat,
right.
right? Because you had to switch up tempos. Now, does Kanye West have ghostwriters? Yes, he brings in rappers, he brings in writers, he doesn't bring in rappers, right? There are people that can rap and there are people that can write. I've met people that can write, and if they try to go in the booth and rap it, they stupid
Yes,
as
yeah,
crap,
bro. That's a totally yes, and
right?
then vice versa. Someone can
Yeah,
rap but
I've
can't
met
write.
people that
Yeah,
can't write a lick, but they can freestyle a butt off, right? Right?
that's it. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, is Kanye got writers in there, and he does that, right? Okay, why don't people say Kanye can't rap? Well, because he makes the music, so he owns 75% of
it's me.
each song, right? Actually, he owns
Right.
85% of the song because you know why he owns 85% of the song minimum is because he actually helps write the lyrics, right? So you don't get a full writer's credit with Kanye, right? Now, here's another thing about Kanye. If he's bringing in a guy that's just happy to show himself, he signed him to a contract. The guy signs over such and such and he pays him up front. Now he owns 100% of everything. So
I get what you're saying.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you know, remember that Black album with Jay Z, right?
yeah.
Okay, you know that song, that Lucifer song, that Lucifer, like that song, like that,
I
right?
remember that song. Yeah,
Okay, okay. Did you ever watch the Fade to Black documentary?
Fade the Black. No, I don't think
Okay,
so.
that Lucifer song, Kanye was playing the Lucifer beat that was supposed to go on his album. Jay was
Hmm.
listening to it in the studio, like, oh, this is crazy. He went right into the booth. He started rapping on it. He said, I'm taking this. And he took Kanye's song and put it on his album. Now, how was he able to do that? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because Kanye signed to him.
To
Now,
Rock Nation.
Kanye's going to get his
Yeah,
producer's credit, but guess what? That beat is going to go on Jay's album.
because Jay is the owner of that record
Yep. He's the
label
owner of the
company.
record label. So at the end of the day, all that money that you make, you still signed under what? The distributor. And the distributor gets paid more than the person that's making the product.
Well, Jesse Andre, let me ask you this, man. I remember in 2011, I think hands down the one of the best albums duos I listened to was probably Watch the Throne. I really enjoyed that album,
Yeah, watch
but
the throne. Yeah.
yeah, Kanye that was really good. So, but I think Kanye at that time though he was kind of upset because he was the royalties he wasn't getting all the royalties from it. Because
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, eh, here's the thing, right? All of the beats that was in that Watch the Throne thing,
yeah,
Kanye made all of those.
that's what I'm saying.
Every
Yeah.
last one of them. Every last one of them. Now, the reason why, once again, he wasn't getting it is because the distribution and the main person, the head label that was on that was actually Rockefeller Records.
Okay.
Right, right, Rockefeller Records, right. And the thing is that and this is and like 4 years earlier, this is how Jay strong on Rockefeller Records out of Damon Dash's hands,
Okay.
right? And the reason Jay did it is because Dame wouldn't give up the royalties to Jay's first album, um, No Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah, it's classic. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dame have the royalties because he's a producer, even though Jay actually made the beats and actually wrote all of his lyrics.
Hmm.
How does Dame own 100% royalties on that album? Well, because he was the producer. The producer means is he invested all the money because Jay didn't have any money for studio time.
In that time, okay, that's when. Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly. That's
No,
like when people say
yeah,
Puffy be robbing people, he don't.
right.
Because you can't make no music without no money, right?
True. That's true.
So here we go once again. The distributor makes what? More money than the person that actually makes the product,
Music.
right?
Yeah.
So, so Kanye was mad, but at the end of the day, the money that you thought you should have got and the money that you got is pale in comparison. Let me put it to you like this. Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney fell out because Michael Jackson brought the royalties and the rights to the Beatles.
Yes, he did on the Beatles catalog.
Yeah. And they fell out about it. Now, why is Paul McCartney mad? That's his stuff. But you could never afford to buy it. So if I couldn't afford to buy it, I could at least talk to my friend that brought it to work out a deal where I could pay him off over time to get at least a song or something or break it down or get a bigger percentage. Right?
Yeah.
And actually, Paul McCartney realized later on, after Michael Jackson died, because what Michael Jackson did, once he died, in his will, he actually basically wielded 3 of the top songs in the Beatles catalog back to the Beatles, to Paul McCartney, the ones that he wrote.
Mm-hmm.
So Paul McCartney realized that he made a mistake, that Mike was doing it purposely to actually help his friend out, but he didn't see it that way.
Mm.
And the reason, and we can go into particulars of it, but you know why he was feeling that way. Because why does this black dude have this more money?
Exactly.
You know, and he probably don't think that he did it consciously, but subconsciously that was really what was kicking him. Because I'm pretty sure they had conversations that he wasn't trying to hear.
Oh yeah.
Paul McCartney he said I was really upset with Michael. And he said Michael's a very shrewd businessman. You don't understand. Like, he doesn't play when it comes to business. He's a very nice person, but when it comes to business, it's a totally different person. But how did Mike learn that? He learned that from Berry Gordy. Like, you know what I mean? So you have to like really understand, like, you know, with the music and the industry. And this is where people don't understand that music is entertainment. People don't really understand either that news is also entertainment.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Right? Well, I mean, I mean, the more negative and the drama you have, that's what people gravitate towards, and that's I mean, that's just the way of the world, though. Like, I don't know, because I think as human beings, we're like naturally negative. Like, we like to see things naturally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, that's crazy. Like, you know, it just has something to talk about. You know, so that's
like,
just so because I think I mean, we can even go into the argument too, and people saying about this whole I don't want to go too. I talked about this COVID stuff for all the time, but just for a brief moment, like, you know,
sure, like, it's the title. That's what I tried to say.
Yeah. That's how people say like the media.
Yeah.
So people say like the media and stuff like that. You know, it's kind of overhyping this on things because I can't even really say that too because I'm indifferent about it because I'm from Michigan and there's a lot of people in Detroit, man, died from. It's like this Detroit bus driver. He went viral and he was basically ranting about this woman, 60-year-old woman. She wasn't covering her mouth. She was coughing like 4 times, not covering her mouth, and he got upset, and you know, which he should be. And he was just saying, "I'm gonna do my job, do whatever." Then a few days later, he died. You know, he had complications and died. So I can't sit up here and say this. I mean, the media ain't really, you know, are giving us false information. No, it's kind of true, but they probably just not the only thing is they just not really reporting large amount of people that's recovering from it. You know, that's my only issue from.
I'm gonna tell you. All right, so I'm gonna give you like 4 different spectrums on it, right? So in Japan, people are doing social distancing things. Certain things are shut down, certain things are closed. But it's not Japan as it is business as usual. But it's still, people are just walking around and doing them, right? People are out running, like people are riding bikes and out running and doing all types of stuff. Like, this stuff ain't running around, right? Now, the thing is like this, right? You have different scopes and stuff, right? When the thing was really popping off and people were dying in China like that, right? No one took it seriously, right? Now,
That's true.
Serious because it hit the United States. right?
Mm-hmm.
If people don't really think about it, but the United States compared to the rest of the world is pretty much isolated. If you really think about it, like if you look at the map, if you look at the globe, you're like it's easier to get back and forth in between Europe and Asia than it is to the US, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that is true.
So if you think about it, in that scope of things, right? Then once it got to the US and it started hitting the major cities, New York has been hit the hardest,
Yes.
right? Because they have so much in and out traffic, it's ridiculous, right? So that actually shows you what will happen. The other thing is the reason why they're pushing this is because people are stupid. They don't listen, right? They don't listen, right? And what I mean is they don't listen is because you have the right to do something does not mean that you should be exercising those rights at this time, right? So if you think about Western civilization and culture, we like to question everything. Everything is a conspiracy theory, right?
Yes.
So think about New York right now. People are dying it's so fast, so quick that they gotta put freezer trucks outside to put the bodies in them.
Mm-hmm.
Now think about that for 1 second, right? Is this serious? Yes, it's serious. Now, okay, if you put out, well, people are recovering, but if those people are recovering are below the ages of 50 and they don't really have any type of respiratory issues or complicated health problems, and it barely affects people that are below the age of 50, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you put that out there, then people will go on business as normal, right?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And you know why? Because they will not care about an old person dying. Matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, they would rather the old people die because they're the ones sucking up most of the economy and stuff like that because you can't work anywhere, especially with the economy going down. The people
I
that are
actually heard some
working,
people say that too. They was like, they keep working longer than,
yeah,
for
they
the
keep working longer because they can't live on their retirement. Um, the other thing is they're working 2 jobs or they're working these jobs that kids supposed to have, right?
yeah,
College students are supposed to have, right?
exactly.
Student loan debt is up, but these old people staying in the workforce longer is suppressing people moving up in like moving up and getting promotions because you got this person that's trying to get 30, 45 years of 40-year retirement because they can't live on a pension and get the hell out the way, right? Because from their generation when they were in power, right? And people don't understand the power generation. The power generation is the generation between 28 and 55,
Okay.
right? Because that's when you become conscious of your economics. That's when you're trying to buy a house. That's when you're trying to get married. That's when you're actually actively voting. That's when you're paying attention to politics. That's when you're in the workforce.
It's just DeAndre, man. Wow, that is so true. That is so true, man. 28 to 50. I just had to say that. That's yeah, I'm gonna keep that. That's
Yeah,
you hit the nail on that, man.
yeah. Now,
That's true.
this virus, the coronavirus has been around since the 60s, right?
Yes.
Jay Sean Randoms played it's a video on his channel where
Mhm.
they had this Korean drama in 2015 talking about the coronavirus killing people, attacking the respiratory.
Mhm.
Ain't that a mind blown? So that means this coronavirus has been around. Now, why would they make a show about this in Korea? Because the coronavirus has has originated in Asia for decades. Matter of fact, even a century, if you go back and look it up, right? It
I'm gonna
evolved.
do a
It
search on
attacks
that.
the respiratory, right? That's the
Right.
thing. You don't know. You just start coughing. What other virus was about this? Oh, the bubonic plague that
Bonnie
happened in
play.
Europe,
This is
right?
SARS.
SARS.
Yeah.
How does E. coli, bubonic plague, SARS, how do these things come about? It's called living conditions. It's called being unsanitary, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's right. Animals get this virus. How do animals get this virus? Because they live, the animals that it come from, they come from unsanitary conditions,
Right.
right? They live in that, but they build up an immunity to it. Now they'll die off when they get older, you know what I mean? But you're not really paying attention to an animal. So now you take this virus, right? You're studying it, you're putting it together, and you're bioengineering it for something. But what you're trying to do is you got a problem, right? Asia, in Asia, they have a big problem. They're not having enough babies, and they have too many old people. Comes out of China, comes from a quote unquote biochemical lab in that area,
Mm.
right? And then you got a virus that's engineered to take out mainly men over the age of 50 with respiratory problems.
So that kind of wow, that's mind blowing. This kind of confirms what I was saying then. So this was genetically engineered, and it was and in China, and it was basically meant to take out the elderly.
It was to curb their population because they don't have enough women and they have an overfull population of men that are over the age of 50. It's to take out their population, but it was to do it in such a way that it wasn't this aggressive.
Like this, like discreetly, okay, to the point
Discreetly over time, over a 10-year clip,
Gotcha.
and plus you're going to have respiratory problems in China. You know why? Because their air quality is horrendous.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Yeah, the smog, the whatever. So if you wiping these people out and they're just dying because they got this chronic illness, then you can do what? You can make these people not hoard the money and pay into the healthcare system, or they'll just die off over time. So you're moving their life expectancy from 85 years of age, you're cutting it down to about 70. Right? Because on average, most Asian people between China, Korea, and Japan, they lived about 85 to 90 years of age.
Yeah, compared to America, it's like what, 65, 60, something
70,
like that.
It's like 70 in America, like 70, right? But if you think about it like that, if you can cut down their life expectancy down to 75, 70, and move them out the way, and then, or even if they live to about like to hit 70, they're not as active to be able to go to work to house up positions.
Right.
Because they're too busy being in the house in a wheelchair. You know what I mean? They're out of the way, right? So, and it affects men. It affects men mostly. If you think about the people that's been checking out and dying,
man,
if you do the research, it's been a large percentage is men, right?
Yeah.
Now think about it. If you don't say this virus is going to affect everybody, and you just say it's affecting men that's from the age of 50 to the 50 and over, and it's men, the majority of the population in the United States is what? White, right?
Yeah.
The majority of this virus will affect is what? White men. Guess what? What do you think people go and do, especially if you said, okay, if you're under the age of that and you're not going to have you don't have a pre-existing condition, right? You're going to have a lot of ignorant people running around coughing on white folk.
Exactly. Oh, so they need
some. Yes. Think about it. How many black people you seen die from this virus? It ain't that many.
Well, it ain't that many. But I know it was this one 20-year-old who died from it.
One 20-year-old, but if you look into that 20-year-old's history, the 20-year-old had pre-existing conditions, right? So if you take a perfectly healthy person without no pre-existing conditions and you put on them that they're black, they have a 98% chance, even if they get the coronavirus, to get over it and not have an issue. Why are they telling you, oh, you get the corona, send you home and do a 14-day quarantine of yourself?
Yeah, because that's the thing. Yeah, because so pretty much it's a gap. So it has to be in a particular reason though, because I had Bill Gates and stuff like that. He talked about this 4 years ago on the TEDx talk, saying we need to definitely shut down the country for like 2 months or do a lockdown before it can reach its peak. But the stuff that you said, if they would have gave us the real information, like you said, economy. Do you think the economy probably still be, I think, growing, but like you say, it would be.
No. The economy, we're inflated to the point where if you keep blowing air into a balloon, you're going to burst it after a certain time, right?
Right.
The problem is that the economy was at a point where we was about to burst. We were about to go to severe recession. Now, recession does not mean that stuff gets cheaper. Actually, stuff gets more expensive. It is just that you can't afford to even live, right? Well,
Yeah.
okay. When you're on YouTube, right, you notice you see this big movement in tiny homes and van life,
Yes.
all
Yeah.
of this stuff, living
Yeah.
off grid, all
Yeah.
of this crap, right? Right? Why do you think people are doing that?
For a minute, I thought it was for spiritual purposes, or just like, hey, oh, and also too, taxes too. I remember this one dude did it named Alex Ansary. He I used to follow him a lot. He went out because in Portland,
Yeah,
they was he couldn't afford it. Like the rent was so high, it was like
there
it
you
was
go.
ridiculous.
There
Yeah,
you go, right?
cost of living. Yeah,
Think about it. All this technology we got, but we're still paying a lot of money for stupid stuff, right? Why
oh
is
yeah,
that? Because we live in a capitalist society. Capitalism doesn't care about anything. Capitalism just needs to make money, right? Or the cost
right.
of food, right? So let me put it into perspective, right? Okay. This COVID-19 virus, as bad as it is actually a good thing. I call it the soft reset, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how do you reset things in the country? Well, the problem is the war we had was too long. You don't send your elderly and children to war. You send your adults to war, mainly your men. So if your men are going to war, they're coming back. Half of like a quarter of them not making it back because they're dead, and the rest of the other half of them, the other quarter of those are pretty much useless because they've been traumatized.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now you got half of your men back. Now they need to go into the workforce, right? Now they won't be able to get in the workforce because they are more highly qualified and more motivated than their people that didn't go to war, and they're not going to allow them to take their positions. Now you have that 50% that came back. Now only a quarter of them can be employed. So now you're going to have a quarter. Now you got a quarter, a quarter, a quarter. So you only got out of the 100% that you send to war, you only got 25% that you could bring back into society.
Mm.
Right? Now you've been to war too long. What happens? The country goes into a state of a recession, right? Because the older people are now sitting on the economy, um, with the Social Security and stuff like that, and they're driving prices up because you're going to have to tax to pay for those older people. Because
Right.
when you paying the Social Security, you're not paying for you; you're paying for the old people that are already on it.
Yep.
And then the younger generation, they paying for you when you get on it. Now, if you outnumber the younger generation, then what's going to happen? Everything's going to go up.
So
So
yeah.
and then the children are going to suffer because they're not going to be able to work and grow properly and stuff like that. So you get this big problem, and you start to see your nation collapse. So how do you fix that? How do you what they would call the 2/3, right? How do
Yeah.
you get rid of the dead weight, right? You get rid of the dead weight because your birth rates are low because it's too expensive to have children, right?
Children.
So yeah,
That's true.
so let me ask you a question, right? They defunded Planned Parenthood, right? What
Mhm.
Planned Parenthood is this: if you have sex with a woman, right, and she has a kid, and she gets pregnant, she can go down to a local abortion clinic and get an abortion, and she doesn't have to pay the whole fee, or she could get on
Mhm.
birth control without having to pay for nothing through the free clinic, right? Right?
Right.
Okay. If they defund that, then that means she has to pay. If she has
Right.
to pay, then she's going to be less likely to have sex with you because she might get pregnant. But hold on, wait a minute. If she gets pregnant, she can make money because the government can fund it, right? But then the government is going to put you on child support as a man. You're not
Right.
going to go on child support, so you're not going to have sex with this woman. So this is a problem. So what we do is we get rid of Planned Parenthood, we get rid of abortions, right? But if the man can make money, he can afford to take care of children, then we can have more children, which basically gives us more resources and assets because a country is not a country unless it have its people. The problem is we have these people that are old as hell. We got to get rid of them. We need something. How do we get rid of them? Oh, here's a virus. Let it come through. Start wiping people out.
Damn.
There you go.
Wow.
So what do you think will
That's
happen after this? If all think about all those people that died in New York, right?
right.
They don't tell you the ages of those people. They just say people die. So your mind wonders,
People
right?
dying. Yeah, I get like breaking news alert. Yeah.
These people died. These many people died. Most of those people, about 80% of those people are old folk that are living in their apartment,
right.
that are this, that, and the third, that this, that, and the third. Every time you look up, this is how you can tell, right? Look up and look at these actors and actresses and these famous people that died from the coronavirus. And you don't die from the virus. You die from complications of the virus because it attacks your immune system. You
Right,
don't
and they
die
just saying like that's what I was thinking. Could have been like another because people die from various ways. Like it could have been another disease, and they just gonna say, "Oh, all right, coronavirus." You know,
yeah, but because
That's
you had the coronavirus, you know what the coronavirus is? The,
no,
cor-
that's like
the
go ahead.
coronavirus is an aggressive form of HIV or AIDS. That's all it is.
Okay, people
Aggressive
was
form.
comparing it to the flu, so okay, it's
No,
HIV
but the
for
flu is a
information.
virus. It's a virus, right? Like
Mhm.
the only way you can get HIV or AIDS is if you exchange bodily fluids, like
Right,
whatever, right? The coronavirus is exchanging of bodily fluids, but it's airborne. If a person cough, if you around someone that's sweaty, it gets in the air. If you breathe that in, you catch it, right? Now,
okay,
now the thing is that it's very aggressive if you have certain type of problems like respiratory problems. Now, if you're a certain age, you're more susceptible to pass from it. You need to be on a ventilator machine and they need to dope you up with something. Now in Thailand, they figured it out. They figured out how to knock out and cure the virus. And it's a cocktail of HIV medicine and viral medicine, like virus medicine or flu medicine, right? Right? Now,
yeah,
if you do that and you run around with this cure and it's known from HIV medicine, people go to everybody knows that AIDS was instituted in a laboratory somewhere. Everybody
hmm
knows this. It's not like it's not an urban myth. We know this, right? The issue is what happens. Big pharma doesn't make any money because the price of HIV medicine and antivirals would go down because the whole world needs it. It ain't no government going to let you make money at that point in time. So we have to find another way, let it run its course because every time this virus moves, it divides itself. It gets weaker and weaker and weaker from the point of zero, right? So it's like did you ever have chicken pox?
yes, it
Okay.
sucked too. I had it when I was in high school, man.
It sucked when you was in high school, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So how did you get it?
I think it was. I don't even know. I think it was somebody who had it was something. It got to be something, Eric. I think it's very contagious,
No,
but it was. I was in school though.
okay, you was in school, right? Somebody,
Yeah.
okay, you was in school, right? You got it in high school. Somebody in high school gave you chicken pox, right? Right?
Yeah.
Most of the time, they tell you the older you are contracting chicken pox, the more lethal it can be for you. So I'm gonna tell you,
Yes.
I got chicken pox. I'm gonna tell you how I got it. I was working with my uncle, like like summer vacation. I was working with my uncle. He does a construction business. My
hmm
uncle took me over one of his friend's house, and their daughter had chicken pox. Right? He walked me into the room and had me sit at the foot of the bed. Right? I ain't know
Wow.
nothing about chicken pox. I just heard she got it. I heard about it. I ain't see it. I saw all these little bumps and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's messed up. Right? I get
Yeah.
home. The next day, I got a fever. This is summertime. I'm like, what's going on with me? Right?
Right.
Right? This is like the end of the summer, right? What's going on with me? We going into the fall. I gotta go to school. I'm up here tired. I'm whatever. I'm fever. And my mom came in the room smiling. Oh, you got chicken pox. Good. Like, what you mean good? So we go to the
Right.
doctor, we get the stuff and whatever, right? And the doctor was like, I'm glad he's like, oh, you finally got it. I'm like, what do you mean finally got it? My mom, because I noticed I was going around a lot of people for the last month with chicken pox. I'm an only child, right? So
Okay.
I was, if I'm not with my mom or with my uncle or going out with my cousins, I ain't getting it, right? Now, the reason is that the earlier that you get it, the quicker your immune system can recover and you can develop in your DNA, you can
Not
develop
better.
immunity to it. So you won't catch it
Right.
again. The older you are when you get it, it's worse. Now think
Yes.
about that. Chickenpox is a virus, right? It's a
Mm.
breakdown of your immune system. It's actually just your body fighting it at a viral level, right? It's putting your immune system through the paces. Now, think about how this virus attacks people that are over the age of 50, 55, especially if they have respiratory problems. Breathing.
So because I remember people were saying this, the nurse was saying like, yeah, you probably already had the COVID, because you see they was like, have you been sick like last year or so? I was like, yeah, I had a sneeze and I was
Yeah,
runny nose, all that stuff. So yeah, you probably already had it, just ran through your system. So I was like,
yeah. You didn't know it. Like
right,
you didn't know it. This is like I said, this was someone was in the laboratory. They was trying to see how bad it could get. And
right,
in China, their living conditions are horrible, right? And
yes,
that person was probably infected in the laboratory, went out to where they live at, and then they could, and it did like that movie Outbreak with the Ebola. Like if you think about it. Now
yeah.
I'll tell you another thing, right? This COVID-19 is basically showing how messed up the U.S. healthcare system is.
Oh yeah, it is exposing it, man.
It's
It is.
exposing it,
And see,
and
and
it's
this is why
yeah,
Bernie Sanders was talking about, he wants to implement that universal health care, like
the
Canada,
Obamacare, the Obamacare,
all
aka
that.
Obamacare, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just like, but like you said, but America, it is a capitalist society, though, man. Because I mean, you got many
Oh,
people.
well, let me put it to you like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, every country in the world has universal health care, right?
Mhm.
America does, right?
All right.
Now, you know what universal health care is? Let me explain it
Makes.
to you, right? I'm explaining it to you, right?
Mhm.
If you go to the hospital right now in America, you're scared to go because you're scared about the doctor bill that you're going to get
Exactly.
when you get out, right? So you
Mhm.
would rather suffer in the house as much as possible. Now, you know what this does? You go to the doctor and you just tell them to give you some drugs. So in America, they're just putting you on meds. They're not even treating you. They're not even doing procedures to treat you, right? They're just giving you medication. So the only people that are making money is the medical industry, but it's the pharmaceutical companies. Pretty much the whole country is on drugs. The drug addicts.
Well, yeah, it doesn't. And that's what I'm saying. Like vaccines and all this stuff, and like most of the pharmaceutical drugs, it don't even. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just treated. It's not a cure. It's never meant to be. Because
It's just
like,
on the titty.
yeah, then next you come back a couple years later, something else is wrong with you. It's like constantly treating. They make money off of you, especially like cancerous patients,
Oh yeah,
chemotherapy, all that stuff.
like
Yeah.
give you perfect example, right? Say you go in and you got you have this problem, right? Right? And you take this medicine, but this medicine, the side effects will cause something way worse than the thing that is supposed to fix,
Oh,
right?
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Right? Then
Yeah.
they give you this other medicine. Remember, you can't go in the doctor's office and just get one medicine.
Mm-mm.
They usually give you three. And the first medicine is the aggressive medicine to attack what it is, but the side effects are so bad that they got to give you two other pills to counteract the side effect of the first pill. See how that works?
Yeah.
right? Now, if you're trying to fix me, right, then why on earth are you giving me something so potent? Well, what they're basically telling you is, how do you combat poison? You use poison. But if the poison is so aggressive, you have to have another poison to combat that. But this breaks down your immune system because it doesn't boost your immune system. It actually weakens your immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, think about all these people with pre-existing conditions, right? Now, what was they talking about for the last 3 years? There's an opioid epidemic.
I remember
Why
that.
are you put on opioids? Because there's no medicine that can fix you from the issues that you have right now because you're too far gone. So we're just going to give you this pain medication to help you eke out an existence every day, right? Because you can't deal with the pain. But guess what? The more you take these opioids, the more numbing, the more you're numb to the pain, the more you get used to it, and they got to up the dosage. They can only up the dosage to a certain point. Now you're addicted to the opioid. Now you're not getting fixed. You're not getting healed. Now you got a problem. Now you got a threefold problem.
So
And now you're
yeah.
not productive to society because if you got a pre-existing condition, you're still on this company's insurance because they gotta still pay for you. Then you getting disability.
Mm.
From
It's like it's a hustle. So, and that's why I'm really believing too much in medication. I remember Dr. Sebi, he was talking about he was very good advocating the alkaline diet and all that type of stuff, and the herbs and stuff.
Yeah, what he was saying was making sense, but it's like people were taking
I
it
still
too
had my
far.
research on it because I'm like, they would say he was curing people with AIDS and he had his own herbalist shop in California and Honduras. I was like,
I'm like, listen, I'm gonna say like this. Look, people like to look. I'm gonna say like this, right? This is where quote my language. The Hebrew Hotep hustling.
Yeah.
Jesus, Muhammad is God. Like you gotta take that tongue in cheek. A lot of stuff that he says makes sense, right? But a lot of stuff that he says is too extreme and is stupid and is stupidity at its finest, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Though. I'm like, I mean,
yeah, I was looking at this lady, right, and she was actually showing this, right, that she did that water diet.
The water, okay,
right, and she was showing the toilet how all the parasites got out of her stomach and stuff like that, right, because she was detoxing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I said, all right, and I said, this chick is stupid. Every living organism that consumes any type of meat or vegetation, you have in your stomach or in your intestines, you have bacteria, parasites there. And they're healthy bacteria and they're healthy parasites. They're there to break down the food and the enzymes in your stomach and in your body, right? They're there to protect you. Your people don't know your immune system is in your stomach and in your intestines. That's where it lies at. So if you're sitting up there getting rid of all the parasites and the bacteria out of your body, you're destroying your immune system. Right? That's why you see all these vegan people, they get sick quicker and faster.
See, this is stuff they don't tell you. See, that's probably for another video too, because some people do it. And I'm not knocking anybody who's vegetarian, vegan. Do you? That's good. Meat is it depends what type of meat you get and everything. It can be bad for you. I understand that, but it's like you got some people just kind of do it like I'm on this high power stuff, man. You're not supposed to be eating meat. You're gonna you're that type of stuff. Your mom ain't really made for that.
I'm gonna say like this. I'm gonna put it to you like this, right? Do you see? Okay, let me put it to you like this. I remember 7 years ago, like when I was working out and doing my thing and whatever. Like I was heavy in the the working out and stuff and like that, hitting the gym. You know, I got to lift these 120s, man, on this bench with these dumbbells, right? You know, I was getting it, right, acting a fool with it in the gym. And I stopped doing it. And you know why? Because I noticed it was making me breathe heavier, right?
Oh yeah,
The sickest I've ever been in my life as an adult was when I felt that I was the healthiest. So I'm gonna give you this perfect example, right?
Okay.
I was eating 4 to 5 times a day. I was doing what I was supposed to do. It was lean. It was, you know, I was like with the vegetables, with the everything, and I was down to 5% body fat. Right? I'm walking around looking like a damn action figure. Right?
Yeah.
Walking around, right? Little waist, big legs, shoulders. No, I hit leg day because I don't like that skinny leg stuff. I don't, right?
Yeah.
So I'm walking around, I'm in proportionate, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, right? And me and my wife, we go with the go to the in-laws. You know, it's Japan, they usually get the flu around that time, and the shit's bad. And I never get it. Never got the flu in Japan ever. But I got it this time. Right? Got it. And it beat me down. Right? And everybody was shocked. Like, you sick? Like, my wife was shocked. Everybody was shocked. Right? And you know what I did? I stopped going to the gym. Right? Just to see something. Right? I started just working out at home. I started going back to a not extreme healthy diet, but one where I can enjoy life at the same time. I'm not counting calories in my head. I'm not doing. I started going to what we call functional strength, right? Because I was in the gym, I was moving this, that, and the third. I went back, did some stuff, do some running. I do some walking. You know, I was in the military, so I got bad knees and stuff. So I don't.
Yeah, you're gonna get that.
Yeah. You know, I can tell when it's about to rain because my knees start hurting, and it'll rain and stuff like that. Like, that's a real thing. I thought it was a joke when I was a kid, but you know, when you get older, you realize that's a real thing, and it's a chronic problem. Like, it's like that. It's the barometric pressure, just puts pressure on your joints, and you just feel it, right?
Yeah.
On your nervous system. Like, so I'm just, I work out, I do my push-ups, sit-ups, do my pull-ups. It's called functional energy, functional strength. Like, I need to be functional, right? And then I realized something. I'm eating, I'm functional, I'm not going crazy, and I'm actually really enjoying life, right? I'm still eating with that healthy lifestyle, but I eat what I want at least once or twice a week, and I'm cool. Now, what I realized is I didn't get sick like that no more after that. And what I started to realize is there's a reason why in the fall, why in the summer and the fall, like the late summer and the fall going into winter, animals eat a lot, right? Because you got to put on what they call that winter coat, right? If you're walking around in the late fall, winter, weighing around 5% body fat, you gonna get sick.
They know that. Wow. Okay.
You need to be fat. You need to put on the extra 10 to 20 pounds if possible. Don't go too OD with it.
Yeah.
But 10 to 20 pounds of fat. You don't need to see your abs in it, because guess what? You're gonna have clothes on, right? I noticed I was colder. Like me, I don't like being cold in the first place, right?
Nah.
Especially if you got like I suffer from like low iron, right? Because I don't eat enough salt. I don't like salt. I stay away from salt. I run from salt, right? Because you know that extreme. I don't want high blood pressure. Stay away from salt. Right? But you need salt in your body. You still need it, because salt retains water, right? Salt retains water. You stay hydrated with salt. That's why, like, when you drink like Gatorade or Powerade, they got electrolytes in it. Electrolytes is just another fancy term for salt.
Yeah.
You got salt there, right? So with that being said, is I started like, okay, I'm gonna fatten myself up. And then I actually slowed down in the wintertime with a lot of repetitions. I start lifting for strength. I can still functional, but I'm moving for power versus stamina. You know what I'm saying?
So it's sort of like Bruce Lee when he was doing his workouts, like instead of lifting like extensive amount of weight, it's more of just like low weight and just doing a bunch of repetition.
What Bruce Lee was doing was he was doing what you would call endurance. right?
Okay, yeah. That's
You
what.
saw how cut up he was. He was
Yeah.
shredded, right? What you do in the late fall to maybe I would say to late winter, like
Mhm.
around like I would say around like March,
Okay.
is you do powerlifting. And what you do is you do low reps, high weight, but you take breaks in between. Like
Okay, I
and
got you.
and
Yeah.
you do the perfect thing to do is what they call 5x5. Um
Yeah.
is it's an A day, it's a B day, and you do it at the most. You can like really you actually really supposed to do that thing at least only twice a week. If you really want to like kind of work on some extracurricular stuff like isolation stuff like shoulders and arms and getting to your stretches, then you work out on the third day. But it's deadlift, squats, deadlifts, and bench press.
So
That's it. You know what I mean? Push, pull. Like that's you're gonna either push something or pull something, right? You know what I'm saying? You pushing with the bench press, you pulling something with the deadlift, right? And you pushing off the ground with the squats, right? With your legs, right? So you know, and then you can do rolls and stuff like that, and then you can do your stretches. Then once you get into like this time now, like April, that's when you start doing your repetitions with your low weight, high reps. Because you want to look good for the summer, right? You want to look good for the summer.
Right.
So you start working on your summer body. So basically, it's easier to look more full and build muscle if you got something to work with, right? Like it's like you it's like a person it's like people try to do the whole I'm a like a stone like a sculptor with the stone, but no, it's clay. You put a lot of clay on and then you cut it off, right? You cut it off, slowly cut it off to make whatever you're going to make. And that's what you're doing. You're putting on body fat, right? And that body fat will insulate you, but then the muscle is underneath. And then when summer comes, guess what? You start trimming down. You start trimming down, right? And here's the crazy part. When I stopped going to the gym, I went from 195
Mhm.
down to 175,
Yeah.
right? Now you're probably saying, well, you stopped going to the gym. What the hell? Why did you lose that weight? Well, I rebound because people don't realize that muscle weighs more than fat. People
Yeah.
don't realize
So you said I'm sorry, say it again.
muscle. Yeah, muscle weighs more than fat,
So wait,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So if you go and get a 1 kilogram or 2 pound slab of lean beef, and you get a two pound slab of beef that's about 75% lean, when you look at them, the beef with the fat on it is bigger in mass, but they weigh the same,
Hmm.
right? So if you say you take the mass of that same beef, right? Of the 2 pound beef and the mass of the kilo, and you equal them, the lean beef would almost be double or triple the weight of the actual 2 pound beef with the fat on it.
Hmm. Okay.
Right? That's that's why like that's why if you look at Shaquille O'Neal, right, when he was in his prime, right, when he was like in shape, right,
Yeah.
he was running down the court at like 315, 320,
Mm-hmm.
right? Running down the court at 315, 320, right? Shaquille O'Neal right now, he ain't working out, right? He ain't working out, but guess what? He weighs about 285, 290.
Yo, he still can move too, man. I was just
Yeah.
I think because I remember I was seeing him he was shooting around with his son, his daughter though. Like he still got it, man. I was like, dang, like
Yeah, he doesn't.
yeah,
But you keep like LeBron James, right?
yeah,
Like LeBron James, when he's in the NBA season, he's running around at 285,
right.
right? But when he's off season, LeBron James weighs about 265, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not working out a lot. He doesn't have all that muscle mass on him. Because
Yeah.
he's working out during the season. Even if he's not working out as intensely, the guy's got to run up and down the court for
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes,
Yeah.
82 games in a season. Plus, he's got practices.
Mm-hmm.
So even if he ain't in the gym actively lifting a weight, the dude is working out by playing basketball. Like he's in shape, right? So
Oh yeah.
so if you really think about it, like if you see them NFL players, those linemen, you notice
Yes.
once they stop playing, they get skinny because they don't got to
Mm-hmm.
keep up their weight and then they got to exert all that. So
Yeah.
that's what I've noticed now with these vegans. You don't hear them pushing that vegan narrative, do you? Where they
No,
at?
no, you
We'll find some,
you really don't. No, I mean, I don't
right?
really hear too many.
I'm waiting for a vegan. Listen, I'm looking. Where is a vegan YouTuber telling you what to eat during this COVID-19 lockdown? I'm waiting.
I think it is one, but I ain't gonna say his name. I ain't gonna say his
Yeah,
name.
I think it is one, but
Yeah.
where they at? What about the animals now?
Right.
What about the animals now? Right? Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you want a steak right now because you
Yes,
hungry.
it's time for somebody, man. After this, I'm about to cook me something. I've been, man, yeah, I've been like cooking a lot. Like I've been baking, cooking.
Yeah.
Seriously, man, I got somebody about to come over and take some of my cinnamon rolls that I bake. It's really good. I bake some cinnamon rolls. I learned how to bake cookies, brownies. I'm about to probably bake a cake next week. And it's not that hard. All you gotta do is get your ingredients and your measurements gotta be precise, man. You don't want to add too much sugar, add too much butter,
Well, it's
but it's
chemistry, right?
nothing to it.
Well, I'm
Huh?
like, if you think about it, baking is the early form of chemistry.
Yeah, man, I learned so much. I was looking like, oh, this what it is. This what 4 ounces is. Like you learn so much. Like okay,
Yeah,
like
like it was like you
yeah,
you know what it is. You know what it is because growing
yeah,
up black, right? Growing
yeah,
up black, right? You're shamed into certain things.
yeah.
You're shamed. You're shamed. You're shamed into being ignorant, right? And I would see my grandmother just start cooking,
Right.
right? And she had a recipe book. And in that recipe book, it was like a pinch of this, a this or that.
Yeah.
They ain't no measurements in there, right? And she's tasting it all the time, right?
Right.
Now that means she can cook, right? Oh, your mama can cook. She ain't got to measure nothing. No, that's actually stupid because if you measure things, you know exactly what you need,
Right.
so you're not wasting resources. The reason why they didn't have to measure anything is because they didn't know how to. A lot of times they couldn't read stuff. The second thing is because they didn't have no measuring cups because those were expensive,
It was
right?
back then. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, and then she learned it just the way her mama learned, right? So you couldn't replicate the taste because everybody taste buds are a little bit different. So if you're tasting your food, your sweet potato pie is going to taste differently than the one your mama made because she was tasting the food when she was making it and putting it in. So it's like if you go to this Popeyes versus the one down the street, they taste the same. Why do they taste the same? Well, someone sat up there and completely measured out the process, the heating time, the grease, the
Mm-hmm.
drop time, and time under heat of everything so you can replicate that taste. A Big Mac in New York tastes the same as a Big Mac in LA,
Yeah, it does.
right?
Yeah.
Now, when you get overseas, it's a little bit different because you got water and different things to put in, to put into play. But you're learning a skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you or a hobby or a gift. Like there's a lot of people. Like I remember that stream you was asking that question. Like what hobbies and skills or things that you figured out that
Oh
you
yeah, during
were
this COVID. Yeah,
acquired.
yeah.
And you notice like I was very shocked that they couldn't come up with nothing.
Yeah, because yeah, that's interesting. I think that's more of a it's more of an individual thing though, because I'm looking like we have so much time, and I was just thinking like you
I
can literally learn so much on. It's always so much to learn. I remember our sergeants always just telling me that like you always, even if you think you know everything, like it's always something you can learn. Like
Now,
I was like, you got the
let me
internet.
let me ask you a question with like I think the lady that was there, she was in the military or something.
She said, yeah.
Okay, and then the gentleman that was there, he was what? He wasn't.
He said they both in. We're in the same base.
Okay, they're the same age. So they're were they in the military or
Yeah,
they
we're in
just
the same. Yeah, we're in the same base actually.
okay? All right. So now you look at that, right? Now you can tell because I can think I think the lady that was there, I think she's what? She's like Asian or something like that. Or
Filipino mix. Yeah.
yeah, right. She's mixed and stuff. So if you look at how people, right, how people are in a dichotomy, I can kind of see on their faces that they're sociable people, right? Especially the lady that's Asian because Asian people they're always interacting with each other,
Crowds. Yes.
crowd, I mean the family there it's family based. They got to be around each other, right? They don't got to be in each other's space, but they got to be within each other's space, right?
Right.
So they depend on each other a lot. So so you do what you're told. So they don't have a lot of creativity. Their creativity is pushed out of them at a young age, right? They're given a role and they're made to execute that role.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do something, she's more like an outliner in the age her community than inside of it, right? Then the other gentleman, he's I could tell he's more of a social person where everything that he does is pretty much like outside, like outdoorsy or
Right.
with
Yeah.
right where you don't really see black people tripping too much about this, right? And the reason is that we feel the safest in the house.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Well, I think too. Based on your personality too. If you're an
Yeah.
introvert, this is like
Oh
we do
yeah.
this daily. You know what I'm saying? We be in the house a lot. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We
like
chilling.
dude,
So
what?
like we be writing. We be coming up with stuff. I think one of the best music artists are introverts. Man, they be very
Oh yeah,
creative. And so me, I'm an introvert. So I'm looking like, okay, I got to at least come up with something. Be writing stuff, doing YouTube. I'm like, oh shoot, let me learn how to bake. Oh shoot, let me learn how to code. Like I love doing that stuff. I don't have to
yeah,
constantly be around people. Yeah.
yeah. And that's what it was, like my wife. She's an extroverted person. This is
Okay.
driving her off the wall.
Yeah.
Like, this is driving her off the wall. Like,
Yeah.
like, like,
Yeah.
like, like this is driving her up the wall, like every wall. Like, and she's like, I, how you know? I was like, look, man, you gotta calm down. Like, you gotta calm down. She's like, when is it gonna be over? I don't know. I can't tell you. You gotta calm down a little bit, man. She's
Yeah.
like, she's like, she's like, you 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 don't sound like I said, what? I'm an only child. This is
That's what I'm
normal.
saying. Like, I
Like,
mean,
it doesn't bother me at all. Like,
I was I was talking to I was trying to talk to my fiance. She was like, "You're so positive during this time." I was like, "Well, I kind of have to be." I mean, don't get me wrong, stuff still sucks, but
oh
I
yeah,
always try to turn a negative to a positive because I'm like, it could have been much worse. It could have been.
well, yeah,
We could have been easily like somewhere else or in some type of FEMA camp. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't get down to that. So I'm looking like, I'm at my home. Let me learn some stuff, and then I was like, all the money that we save and stuff, hey, it's all gonna pass. So when 2021 comes around, we'll be on top, economically. You get what I'm saying? So I kind of just put that in that source, you know what I'm saying? It's keeping her calm and stuff. Cause I'm looking like, it's gonna pass. It's not gonna last forever. So
exactly,
yeah, I mean that's how
exactly. Exactly. Oh, Cerulean, what's going on?
Oh,
Um,
great.
yeah, Cerulean did a thing about the history and hindsight about immigration and stuff like that, about how immigrants get a leg up and stuff
Uh-huh.
when they come in. So he's got an extensive like with the articles and the breakdowns of the policy and stuff like that. Like he actually puts it out there. But the but this thing is really showing people like I would see what I like to do. What I started doing on Facebook is making little I call it little troll statuses, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I always put the background with the little smiley faces, the little laughy things to let people know these are just jokes, but there's some
Right.
truth in jokes, right? Um, so what I do with these jokes is I put up one, I think it was a couple of them. But the major thing is that people are really going to find out their relationship status. So I put one up. It's like you're going to know if you're the side of the main. Look to your left, look to your right. You
Mm-hmm.
guessed it, right? If you're in your house and you got a girlfriend or whatever, significant other, and you think you'll and she's not with you or you're not with that person, right? Other than in certain situations, and or you're competing for the affection, you're gonna find it out. Either way, female, whatever. They saying they're having more domestic disputes. Police officers are going to the houses more because of this virus.
And that's sad though, because and it needs to be the opposite though, because I feel like shouts out to BMT, right?
Yeah.
So shouts out to him, good brother, man, mentor of mine. He was just saying like it should be no reason why you shouldn't invest in your kids now, especially kids out of school. I know in
Well,
America right now, well, I know in a lot of states, they close school down, especially in Michigan, for the rest of the year. So that
yeah.
means the children are going to be home. So teach them things, talk to them, talk to your baby mother or something like that. He actually, BMT said he actually went to like 3 different marriages at the courthouse, man, because he was just like, hey, y'all been together for 6-7 years, got kids, y'all might as well just get married, and just work this thing out since you're always at home. So now this can be an opportunity to restore family structure.
Think about it, right?
Yeah.
So here we go again, right? What we was talking about earlier, right? What's the major problem? Okay, let me throw
Mhm.
some stuff out there. Why do children nowadays are rambunctious? Every time you look up, it's a kid doing something in school, right? There's a teacher molesting the child, and it's more females than males molesting students now, right?
Yes.
Right? Okay. Now, here's the next one, right? Parents have to work. Mom have to work. Dad have to work. They got to put in 12-hour shifts. They get home. Who's raising the kids? The television, the internet, right?
Hmm.
People talk about cyberbullying, right? Cyberbullying. Bullies used to actually put their hands on you,
Now
right?
it's just words on the internet. It's
Before the
crazy.
work. So now
Yeah.
you're telling me children have a weak constitution because somebody that ain't touching you can affect you to that point. Now, I'm not saying that's it's still not wrong. I'm just saying bullies used to put you in lockers and flush your head in the toilet, but the kid ain't never come to the school with a goddamn AK and start shooting it up. So now what is this going to do? This virus is going to force people to do like you said, right? But here's the thing. It's also forcing another thing. A one spouse income. Think about it
Okay.
like this. Most men work in an industry where it's vital, right? And when I
Mhm.
mean vital, you're talking about blue collar industry, right? Right?
Yes.
Construction. They still constructing stuff. Stuff is still getting built, right? Stuff still needs security. Stuff still needs certain things. Stuff
Yeah.
still needs
Infrastructure. Yeah.
infrastructure, right? Those were what you need. Most women work where? They
White
work.
collar offices.
So guess where they gotta be at? They
Yeah.
don't need to be at work, they can be at home. They can do
Right.
teleconferences, right?
Right.
That's what this is going to do. If you're home, you get to do what? You gotta be around your kids.
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying though, but then again too, I believe. So this comes to another thing, DeAndre. I believe, somebody was talking about this. I ain't gonna say his name though, but he real cool, popular YouTuber. But he was saying,
Yeah.
yeah, but he was a real popular YouTuber. He's real cool though. He was just saying like, hey, far as the African American standpoint, if you having a hard time finding a job and you got like a baby mother and stuff like that, and you got kids, he was like, "This is what you need to do." He said, "Be a stay-at-home dad." He was like, "Have if your mom, not the mom, your baby mother is making money and working, because at the average, a woman's gonna have a job, which is true." So he was like, "They're the ones making money and stuff like that. Just lock down your household. Y'all switch roles. You do the cooking and cleaning while she go out and work, or wherever she do. In this situation, she working from home, and you take care of your kids. You educate them. You just might have to do that, and that can take a load off. That's an individual like type of a decision, but I'm just saying like that can take a load off of the woman. Like, okay, well, my man is like, even though he don't got a job, but he's still contributing to this family by self-educating our kids and buying a bunch.
Well, let me put it to you like this.
Yeah.
And not to be totally disrespectful, that's the most asinine, dumbass shit to somebody.
So you'll be
like asinine, dumbass shit that somebody can say out of their fucking mouth. As as a man. Like now, if there comes a time where it may be better for you to do that, because I did that one time. Like when I got out, I was making the money when I was in. The wife was, whatever, and it was better for her to raise the kids while I was at work because I was in the military. They pay for every fucking thing, the house, whatever, right?
Exactly.
When I got out, that wasn't happening no more. But I'm in her country, and I got to get in the workforce because I'm not in the military no more, right? So and I took some time off because I just finished 8 years of being in the military, right? And I wasn't really around my kids like that because I was always gone. So she went to work, and I was home with the kids, with the younger one because the older two were already going to school.
Okay.
So I was with them, and whatever, right? So that's understandable, but that wasn't going to last forever, right? Here's the issue, and this is why that's asinine, right? It's because the system that we live in is only devised to take care of women and children, right? Men have to come to the environment. Women find a place to nest in it. And I'm explaining this to you, right? When anything goes down, let it be a terrorist attack, let it be a natural disaster, right? Women and children first, then the elderly. They never say men. You know why? Because the men have to secure everything. The men have to do what else? They have to basically provide,
protect, all
that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Why do you say the women and children first? Because the women can have more children. They are the teachers and the nurturers of children. The elderly are the elders that can give the knowledge of the past generation so these new group of men and women can procreate and keep the cycle going and move the gene pool, right? No, you do not stay your ass at home. Actually, what you do is you get your butt out there and you walk. Right?
See, but it was like the way he explained it, though. I was like,
sound nice. It sound cool.
Yeah.
No. You know what we call that? We call that class A dereliction, right? Because look, okay, think about it. Say she's making this money. Say she's doing this, right? Okay. Say she come home and get mad at you. She's having a bad day. Y'all have an argument. The police come, right?
Right.
Who will they tell has to leave the home? The man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
It depends on the situation, but mainly, the man.
But the man, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's another thing, right? Okay. If this woman, say you and this woman, you and your woman get into it, right? She's stressed out, you get into it. Say something happened, and then y'all just decide to go separate ways. Y'all go to court. Who gonna get control and custody of the kids?
Right. Usually the women.
And then guess what? Guess who gonna be on child support?
You.
Okay, and then guess what? Guess who ain't got a job? Guess who ain't been in the workforce
Like
for
you.
so long? And the longer you stay out the workforce and the older you are, the harder it is to get back into it. Is that not correct?
That's correct, though.
Okay, so and then women are actually making more money proportionate to men. So you're already behind the power curve.
Oh,
So
yeah.
why set yourself up like that? And then guess what? Some kids aren't going to be kids for a long time. So what are you going to do as a man once those kids listen, once kids get into like later stages of junior high school and high school, you're on autopilot.
They become they just started thinking on their own a little bit, doing stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
so you only and they're in school for 8 hours out of the day. Shit,
Right.
if they're into an after school club or sports or something, that's 12 hours.
Yeah.
Guess what? You gonna wake up, you cook breakfast, they go, you clean the house, you do the laundry, and what else you got to do for the rest of the day? Nothing.
And pick them up like after that, like
You just sitting around on the house. You just sitting around the house, getting fat, looking at internet, and doing whatever. Right? Right?
yeah.
Well, I'm not saying with these gender roles and all this other stuff, but you need to do something. You need to go conquer an environment or something. Like you're going to come up with a hobby. Well, if you got time to be playing around and having a hobby as a man, you got to, like Chris Rock said this, a man is only loved unconditionally long as he can provide something.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Long as he can provide
that. Yep.
Right? Now think about it like this, right? If
That's
a man
also-
ain't working, then a man ain't nothing.
He
Right?
ain't nothing useless. Yeah. But
Right? So let's just stop playing with these old gender roles and all this other crazy nonsense and foolery and tomfoolery.
see, this is why that's one guy I didn't say his name though, but he
I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm like,
but
you know what I mean?
yeah. Because I was
disagree adamantly because and especially since I live in a patriarchal society as Japan, let a man stay the hell home.
But then again, too, I can see too in your situation, like if you, there's many ways. If you can make money from home, yeah, okay, that's different. If you got constant income coming in, and you just still you take care of your kids, all right. But
no house husband, no bro.
No
house husband, bro. Like no.
He was like, bro, just be a stay-at-home dad if you can't get no job. I'm like,
listen. You can get a damn listen. As a man, you can get a job. It may not be the job that you want, but you can get a job. Like, dude, even if you a stay-at-home dad, okay, your kids go to school from this time to this time. They can go work at McDonald's, go work at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Part time, okay. You get off work, you home for your kids. You pick your kids up after school, right? Work at Lowe's on the weekend when your wife is there. Like, work somewhere. Like, if you're working somewhere doing something, you can work the midday. You can be a greeter at Walmart.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Actually, I believe I just made a video. I believe grocery store workers work the hardest, man, especially in these pandemics. They should get like 35, 50 an hour, man.
Yeah, but see, that's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
If you ain't got a job, you're a stay-at-home dad, okay, for a season.
Right.
You need to go pick up a trade. You need to go do something. You need to figure something out because you can provide for your family. Because here's the problem. What happens when your wife runs into a man that got a job?
Right. Just gonna start leaving you. Yeah, and that happens.
And it happens.
Yeah.
It will happen.
But see, this is what, because women leave.
Why do I need a man? Like, I don't care who you is, right? Unless the only time this happens is unless this woman is like older and you look a certain way. If she basically get what they call a trophy husband, then it is what it is.
Let me get to read these comments, man. Shout out to Curly Gray, Jack Sure, appreciate y'all. I'll make y'all some moderators, man. Appreciate y'all. Says Eastside Wood 29. That sounds like some Detroit stuff. What's up? That do they give? Baddies. I think he said baddies, babies, vaccines for chickenpox. That's why we don't get it anymore. And are y'all gonna take a vaccine for this? Okay. That's interesting. I'm gonna let you go ahead.
I'm gonna say, listen, I was in the military, and to be honest with you, I'm like, you know this. Like,
Yes.
they're going to shoot you up with stuff while you're in the military,
Mm-hmm.
like vaccinating you, especially going to different countries like India and Horn of Africa and all that stuff, right? Vaccines work, but there's a caveat to it.
Mm-hmm.
Once they come out with this vaccine, don't get it. Like, and the reason why I'm telling you not to get it and this is my just suggestion not to get it, is because they are trying to compile data. They still haven't gotten this vaccine, that they still haven't synthesized this virus for it to be a regular virus that comes on the loop. Like when that influenza, that SARS came out, the whatever, the bird flu, the
Yeah.
pig flu, and all of that.
Flu. Yeah.
Yeah, it was killing stuff, but it was killing people, but it was only in a particular region, right?
Right.
Then once they synthesized it to the point where, okay, you just got the flu, and it silently kills people off. Like more people die from influenza and SARS and
Yeah, it
stuff.
was about. I think the data says about 110,000 people died from the flu so far from January to March this year.
This year, right?
And we have vaccines for that. I mean, you get your flu shot every single year, and it's still people dying. So
People die because you know why they die? Because the virus attacks the immune system.
yeah,
People that are older now, the people that die are people that are in the 70s and older, right? The people that most of the people that get taken out, and then you sprinkle in some people with some immune problems and stuff like that. And and then you get some 20s here, some 30s there, some 40s here, some 50s there, as far as age range. But I would say you don't, like, far as when they first come up with this vaccine, don't get it until it's about 3 years, 2 to 3 years, right? And the reason why I say that is because they synthesize the virus and they're actually trying to stop people from getting it, because it did its job. Like, it's like when you get an update from Apple, like the new iOS comes out, right? And when you go out to get it and you get the first one, it's glitchy, it fucks your phone up.
It is. That's wait a little bit.
Yeah, especially the older your phone is, right? It'll start bricking your phone, your battery dies and stuff.
Yeah.
But then when they come out with the third or fourth like revision to the update to fix certain shit, right? It fixes it, but what happens is it doesn't unfuck the damage that it did with the older models. So you always wait on those updates, right? Everybody to learn, okay, when the new update come out, don't fuck with it until they fix the bugs.
It's more like the same thing. Like I remember when the Xbox 360 was coming out, everybody's getting it, and I remember they had this red line of death. Basically, It's like, so that actually happened to me. So I had it for like a year, and then it just went bad. And that's all. He had to send it back to Texas and everything. Had to redistribute it to me. But they were saying, wait a year or wait a few months before you get all the bugs out. It's something to that. It's more like, I think like vaccines now, it's more like a placebo to me. Because it's just like, you're taking this, you think you're getting better, but you're not. It's just.
Well, what they're doing is the reason why the way a vaccine works is just like I said earlier with antivenom, right? They're giving you the virus. They're actually giving it to you with the vaccine, right? But when they're giving you the virus with the vaccine, if you get the vaccine when they first give it to you, the vaccine is made for someone that has a really aggressive form of the virus, right?
Okay.
Once those people die off and that strand is weakened, then you get the vaccine. It's a weakened form of the virus. It will come into your immune system. Your immune system will build up blockers and signals. So if the virus does come up, your immune system knows to directly attack it immediately.
That makes sense. Okay.
So that's why you do it like that. Because the vaccine's not meant for you. The vaccine's meant for people that have an aggressive form of it that's damn near on death's door. So if you go and get that and ain't nothing wrong with you, you're actually going to make things worse, like for yourself. So that's why you wait like you wait like a couple of years or so forth. Like I haven't had a flu vaccine since I was in the military.
Yeah, because
Straight up.
we have to get it, but it is what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember when I'm working in the hospital for 5 years. I had to get it every year, or if not, they made it really mandatory. If not, you get reprimanded and all that type of stuff. So, but luckily, thank God, I haven't had any complications. I never caught the flu, so in those years. So, I mean, there's some truth to it, though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really some truth to it. Like you have to like with the vaccines and stuff like that. Like the other thing that I kind of engage with folk with these with and when I talk to people, they're like, oh man, that's some tinfoil hat. Oh man, that's some
Yeah.
conspiracy theory stuff. I said it's not conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. But he's like, man, ain't you weirded out about it? Because when you see people when they start, oh, they're going to do this and all. I said, listen, that's what they're doing. That's what's happening. And maybe it's intentional, maybe it's unintentional, but these are the effects of it. But you have to understand that you're going to be on the spectrum. There's going to come a time where you're going to be in that spectrum where it's time for you to check out of here, step out.
Oh
Right?
yeah, that's true. DeAndre, I'm sorry, man. I got somebody at the door, man. It's been a long street, man.
Yeah, it was like almost 4 hours, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got to get you on here again.
Yeah,
Look,
man.
I'm probably gonna cut it off, but I really appreciate you, man, doing this. Thank you for people on YouTube and Facebook for subscribing to me and following this. A lot of knowledge, man, a lot of wisdom, man. So I was letting you talk and stuff. I was like, I learned something, man. Thank you, brother.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you on some more, man. And thank you for saying some gems, bro.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
this is really good, man. But yeah, man. I'll hit you up again. I'll email you. I guess that's the best way to communicate with you. Yeah, let me go from there, bro. But I appreciate you on here, man.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. Go take this power nap.
I feel you, man. All right, brother.
All right, you too, bro.
All right, take care.